at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, where two top 10 programs will battle for their national championship lives. Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime for the All-State Kickoff in the Capitol. This matchup features a Virginia Tech program which has proven to be one of the most consistent over the last 2 decades against Boise State, hoping to join the big boys. 80,000 plus on hand to watch the biggest game in Boise State history. Ranked number 3, their highest ranking in the school's history, which gives them a chance to make a run for the BCS championship. Folks, the Broncos are now dressing right alongside Goliath as Frank Beamer brings Virginia Tech out. Good evening, everybody. We're Kirk Herbstreit. I'm Brett Musburger. So what do we make of Boise State and the BCS hopes and everything?
This has been what everybody's been waiting for. The entire month of August and 2-a-days throughout the entire country, there's been talk about the non-automatic qualifier, in this case Boise State, getting a chance to play on a big stage against a big-time program like Virginia Tech and to show whether or not they're deserving of this ranking. And tonight, this is what Boise State fans have always wanted. Tonight, it's them against the rest of the college football community, not just Virginia Tech.
And a great matchup of two talented quarterbacks.
That's what makes it so great, Brent, is with all the hype and the hoopla, you've got 2 established quarterbacks. Kellen Moore, obviously, last year had a great year. 39 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Will have to be flawless tonight with his execution. But Tyrod Taylor, in my opinion, really one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks. The ability to make so many things happen with his feet. The big, strong arm is the area that he's improved the most. And I'll tell you what, Boise State, known to be kind of a tough-nosed, hard-nosed defense, they're going to be tested tonight, in my opinion, again. Some of the best athletes around a quarterback happen to be playing for Virginia Tech.
Yeah, if you like points, folks, stay tuned. We can have a few here tonight, Irving, I'll tell you. So Tyrod Taylor and the officiating crew will meet out at midfield for our coin toss. And pretty soon the Hokies will take this field. This will be a very pro-Hokie crowd here tonight. Lined up in their tunnel and ready to come pouring out with some of their adoring fans. So Virginia Tech is ready. They'll take on number 3, Boise State, coming up.
All-State kickoff in the Capitol. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper. Trident. Help fight cavities with Trident sugar-free gum. And Verizon, the official wireless service provider of the NFL.
We welcome you back to the All-State kickoff in the Capitol. Weather's a story, folks. Very dry out Boise way in Idaho. Notice the humidity. This was a concern of the Boise State coaching staff as they came thousands of miles to play in the Eastern time zone here tonight. Several times they would go inside into a heated arena. Coach Peterson is down below with the third member of our team. Let's go to Heather Cox. Heather.
Brent, thanks so much. Coach Peterson, you've always had to prove everybody wrong. Now you have to prove them right. How does mentality change with that shift?
Well, we just got to play hard, play fast, play with a chip on our shoulders, and play for 4 quarters.
How do you balance what's at stake with not putting too much pressure on your players tonight?
Hey, we're here to win every game. It doesn't matter who we play or what game of the year it is. That never changes. And so it's been a long time, and ready or not, here we come.
All right, Coach Pete, we're looking forward to it. Brent?
Thanks, Heather. So Chris Peterson will go on offense. The second half as they won the coin toss and they deferred. And Frank Beamer's Hokies will have the ball to start the game. They will put it in Tyrod Taylor's hands. And, of course, the big story will be the running backs here as we get set now for the kicking and the return team to take the field. So let's just lay out here and enjoy the scene. This is the game of the weekend. The deep men on the right side, number 4, and keep an eye on David Wilson from Danville, Virginia. The coaching staff is extremely high on this one-time high school champion in the triple jump. Ball is on the tee for Kyle Blotzman. Wilson driven back in the end zone, and he's going to come out on a delayed reaction, and he is lit up despite the fact that a teammate was trying to keep him in the end zone. And here comes the Hokie quarterback, Herbie.
Tyrod Taylor, young man who's played a lot of football, making his 29th career start. Ability, of course, to run and throw. Does so many good things. Confidence really took off, I think, last year, Brandon, his second year as a starter, because he gained so much more confidence in the players around him. Tonight, he'll look to scramble to throw, not necessarily scramble to run.
Ryan Williams gets the first call. 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago, and they go flea flicker on the opening play of the game. And incomplete, and a penalty is called. He underthrew the receiver, and the DB, Jamar Taylor, ran into him. That will frequently happen with a defensive back. He's the young man who has to replace Kyle Wilson, who was drafted number 1 by the New York Jets.
21 defense, 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, you're going to love the call by Brian Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, with all the hype and all the build-up of this game. They, instead of going with their running game, they hand it off and then give it back to Taylor, and he tries to get it downfield, and Taylor knows he's either going to get a touchdown or he underthrew it a little bit that time and picked up 15 yards with pass interference.
Ball is spotted on the 31-yard line. Fumble on the snap. Battle for the loose ball. Boise says they've got it, and the umpire agrees with him. Brad O'Hara, the Big Ten official, was in on top of it, and the ball is recovered by Billy Wynn.
Well, Brett, we've seen a lot of this opening weekend in college football all over the place. The center and quarterback exchange, the fundamentals that you work so hard on during camp, this time backfiring here on Virginia Tech, and an experienced center in Bo Warren and a veteran quarterback in Tyrod Taylor.
Gives the Broncos a 1st and 10 on the Hokie 31-yard line. And here comes Kellen Moore. Doug Martin is the tailback. They line up, and now the tight end goes to the right side. They're strong to the right side of this formation. They're going to run in that direction, and the Hokies are ready. Well, here is the left-hander, Kellen Moore. Herbie, you gave the stats a couple of times here today. It's just unbelievable what he did last year.
Yeah, finished second in the nation in passing efficiency, and he's 26-1. More importantly, that's the stat that I love. As a starting quarterback in Boise, really has worked hard on his pocket presence, stepping into the pocket, putting a little bit more velocity on the football, and believe it or not, he wants to improve his accuracy from last year to try to give his receivers a better chance to run with the ball after the catch.
Second and 14. Kellen has time, and there's his first completion, but not much of a gain. Not even back to the original line of scrimmage. We will take you through the Boise State offense, and we'll begin, of course, with the weapons that Peterson had. Austin Pettis and Titus Young, folks, if you haven't seen them, two very talented wide receivers. Nate Potter has been moved from guard back to left tackle. Junior from the Boise area because of an injury to right. So he is back in his familiar position. And I noticed that Kellen had time that last time. Let's see what happens here, because third down, you would think that he's looking over and we're going to have a timeout. So here is Frank Beamer, and if there is a question right now, Herbie, it is about the Virginia Tech defense. Bud Foster has to replace a lot of the fellas that he counted on last year.
Yeah, and Barkwell, one of their best players is Barkwell Rivers, and he's out tonight, or he injured himself lifting weights in the spring. So really they're down to about 4 starters returning from a year ago, and also 11 contributors. I just think that this is a team that, with Bud Foster's track record and everything that he's done as a defensive coordinator, they might be young, they might be inexperienced, but they will play Bud Foster defense, which is attacking, being aggressive, playing with a lot of emotion, and he always likes to put one extra guy up into the into the boxed area to defend the run and make you show him that you can throw the ball.
A couple of schools came and approached him about being their head coach, but Virginia Tech took care of Coach Foster. They love continuity. The athletic director, Jim Weaver, played for Joe Paterno at Penn State, and he has modeled the athletic program at Blacksburg right after what Paterno has done, and consistency of the coaching staff, so very important. Here we go now, third down and 11 for Kellen Moore and the Broncos. In underneath, short of the first down. They are close to the right hash, and that, folks, is a story when you talk about Boise State kicking. You do not want to line Kyle Brotzman up on the left hash. It has become a mental thing for him, and so he will come in and attempt this field goal from the right hash, where he was perfect a year ago. They made sure they got the ball over there, and Austin Pettis will be the holder. Long enough, 44 yards, and Boise State takes advantage of the exchange problem, and they cash in 3 points after the turnover. Well, back in Landover, Herbie, what do you think of these new uniforms that are broken out by these two teams here?
You know what? I'm kind of a fan of the Virginia Tech ones, but you're right. We were talking before the game. They look pretty good. But it's hard to think that that's Virginia Tech with all the black on there. And the numbers look a lot better on TV than they look in person.
Looking sharp.
David Wilson can make any uniform look good.
Indeed. The young man got out only to the 16-yard line when he could have taken a knee down in the end zone. He was so eager. Bronsman with the ball on the tee. He put the Broncos up, and here's his second kickoff. He drilled that first one. Right at the goal line, and here comes Wilson. And great coverage on the special team by Boise State that time. And let's check out the offense. We have talked a lot, of course, about the quarterback, but Ryan Williams, Darren Evans, David Wilson, 3 talented running backs. Cole, Boykin as wideouts, and Andre Smith's got big shoes to fill as that tight end. And there is the offensive line. Andrew Lanier's the story, because they can't get Nick Becton healthy enough over there at left tackle. So you might want to keep an eye on the left tackle situation here. There's a late Boise shift. They'll throw a motion at him, and here we go on first down. That's great penetration by this defense. And that's Billy Wynn who recovered that fumble. He is off. He's causing that offensive line problems right now.
Well, he is dominating the interior of Virginia Tech's defensive line. And Boise State, if you're not familiar with Boise State, and you've seen a little razzle-dazzle from them over the years, they're a mirror image of Virginia Tech's style. They are aggressive. They'll pin their ears back, and they will attack you in a very similar nature that Bud Foster and the Hokies will do. So they love this kind of smash-mouth style of football in the trenches and getting very aggressive.
That's a 5-yard loss on that play, and that will give Taylor 2nd and 15. In trouble again, and he is lit up that time by McClellan. Shea McClellan out of Caldwell, Idaho, right there in the Boise area.
Right now, they're just getting off of these blocks, and there's a little bit of movement that's causing some confusion up front for Virginia Tech. But what you're watching is a Boise State defense that is dialed into what Virginia Tech's trying to do with their pass protection, and they are showing up front. They have a lot of confidence in their ability to contain and harass Tyrod Taylor.
So offensive coordinator Brian Steinspringer, he got his hands full against this defense early. This is 3rd and 21. Bringing pressure, and Taylor, who is a good runner, will take this out of bounds, and they will live for a 4th down and a punt coming up here.
Another win for this Boise State defense. The pressure continues to be too much for Taylor. Great athletic ability and toughness from this experienced veteran Boise State defense.
So now Mitch Burrows, the punt return man for Boise State, number 20. Standing back around his 40-yard line, he can give them real good field position here. And you know, these are 2 of the better special team schools in the country. We give Virginia Tech all the credit in the world. Folks, don't go to sleep on a special teams at Boise State. Last year, if anything, they were a little bit better, if you can believe it, than Virginia Tech if you graded them out. This is from behind Brian Saunders. Blocked. So Boise State blocks the first punt. Advantage special teams, Boise State. Austin Pettis, their outstanding wide receiver, recovered the ball, and it is a huge 1st and 10 for the Broncos. And he came right in and blocked it.
But you said it before the snap that Boise State is as well known in college football as Virginia Tech. Pettis just comes right off the edge. It's a blown assignment by Virginia Tech. Boise State overloaded to the right side of Virginia Tech. They weren't able to account for Pettis coming off the edge, and with his speed coming off there, he's able to get to that football.
First down from the 12-yard line. Great run. Doug Martin, the junior from Stockton, California. Herbie, he picked up 2-3 yards after big contact.
This is what I love about Boise State's program. No matter who's back there, Boise State has undersized backs that have been told their whole lives they're not tough enough, they're not fast enough, they're not tall enough, and they run with an attitude, with a chip on their shoulder. All 3 of their backs will be aggressive tonight, and that time it's Doug Martin.
2nd down and 5. They can still get a first down without scoring. Play action. Touchdown. Austin Pettis, the senior from Anaheim, California. And Boise has shocked this Virginia Tech crowd. Pettis will put it down for Kyle Brontzman. And he tacks on the extra point with 9:48 to go in the first quarter. The Broncos have taken a 10-point lead on the Hokies.
All-State kickoff in the Capitol. Brought to you by All-State. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like All-State. Are you in good hands? And Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
What a great view here in the nation's capital. I'll this Labor Day weekend, a holiday. Hope you had a wonderful time wherever you might be. And right now, fans in Boise have got to be excited. Bronson has been very busy. He's about to kick it off for the third time, and we note that Virginia Tech has switched the return men. Wilson and Roberts have switched positions. Wilson has returned the first two, and now down here toward the bottom is Tyrell Roberts. Brotsman with that big leg, and here comes Roberts this time. 10, 20. And he makes it out near the 30-yard line and the touchdown, Herbie.
Well, Brett, remember they were running the football with some success the previous play by showing play action. Watch the fake and watch what it does to the safety coming up out of position. The safety, Eddie Whitley, who again is inexperienced, he thinks they're going to run the football. It's 1st and 10. He comes up, and you cannot do that to Kellen Moore and make it that easy to a veteran receiver like Austin Pettis. Gets to the inside, easy touchdown.
Well, here in the early going, the Hokies offensive line having problems with this defensive front of Boise State. Play action. Tyrod rolling. Eludes the tackler and picks up a few yards. So what a big start in this ball game for Austin Pettis, folks. If you haven't seen him, first of all he did was block the punt coming in clean. And then just seconds later, off the play action, wide open for the touchdown. Pettis and Titus Young, two of the most talented wide receivers in the country behind quarterback Kellen Moore. And now it is 2nd down for Tyrod Taylor after that 5-yard run out of bounds. Inside handoff, short of the first down, but running right at that front, Herbie.
You know, not only is Virginia Tech struggling with the battle up front, Brent, the quickness and athletic ability of Boise State's defensive line, but the coverage. I mean, Tyrod Taylor a couple times, they've moved the pocket, he's broken contain and gotten outside. And remember, he likes to scramble more to throw than he does to scramble to run, but he's been forced to run even when he's gotten outside just because of an outstanding job of covering the receivers by Boise State secondary.
Ryan Williams is the tailback. Running back coach Billy Height, he loves the ISO in this situation, and here it comes. And Boise State jumped it. On 3rd down and just over a yard, Boise State jumped the ISO.
Brent, I don't know if Virginia Tech, the offensive line, realized how good Boise State is when it comes to their size and their quickness. I mean, you think about Boise State, you hear about all the hype. Wow, they're from the WAC, they're undersized. They're not necessarily undersized, and they played a lot of football, and they have great athletic ability in that front 7. Right now, they're owning Virginia Tech in the trenches.
Saunders back to punt for the 2nd time. The first one did not work out. Virginia Tech has already turned it over on a center quarterback exchange, had a punt block. And I believe it was a stop prior to play.
Offense.
This is Big Ten officiating crew.
Still 4th down.
John O'Neill is our referee. And old veteran Dick Honig is up here watching the replay for him. There's John.
You just don't see these kind of mistakes from Virginia Tech very often. Having a punt blocked, delay a game because of all the movement before the snap. Look at Boise State, what they're doing. They're trying to, it's a numbers game, and they're just moving around and trying to create some confusion. Boise State, by the movement, you see Virginia Tech pointing.
Under pressure, gets this one off. Returnable from the 22-yard line. Burrows gets a block, and there's a penalty flag in the middle of the field, and then Burrows breaks free. But there's a penalty flag. No use running an extra 15, 16 yards when you know it's coming back, right?
No. Get out of bounds. All right. People always talk about Boise State, and do they have the toughness and the strength and the depth to be able to play with the big boys?
33 return team. 10
Half
yards
a
from the spot
quarter
on 5.
into the 2010 season.
Timeout.
They're putting on a pretty good showing at this point.
So Tommy Smith commits the blocking foul. That'll cost them. We'll be right back. Boise State jumps out early. So here in the first quarter, Boise State has jumped Virginia Tech, leading by 10, and what a monster Saturday will be coming our way. Moore checking over to the sideline. Play action. Going to put it up on first down. Incomplete. Well, Harvey, the point that has to be made here is that Bud Foster has to rebuild the defense that has been so tough through the years. He's done it before.
And you look over the last 6 years, there have been some years where he's had 3 or 4 starters returning. And I think this year could be one of the more challenging years that he's faced in a long time. Not only losing to 7 starters, but breaking in some guys that, you lose Jason Worlds early as a defensive end of the NFL. That hurts.
Play action, sprint, move the pocket, nothing doing. This will be third down and long. And that time Bud Foster's defense jumped the play. Eddie Whitley on Tommy Gallarda.
And you know, over time, Brent, the Hokies defense will be fine. But tonight, to open up a game like this against a veteran team, it's a challenge. Here they are. This is a big sequence of plays for Bud Foster and the Hokies defense because of the way the game's been dominated by Boise State. They need a 3 and out to get some momentum back and get Tyrod Taylor in good field position.
Bud was not happy. Third down and long. Boise spreads the field. What a job by the offensive line. And there is that man again, Austin Pettis. Now let's go back on that story. He was a first-team all-WAC player despite the fact that he suffered a major injury against Nevada that forced him to miss the last game of the regular season.
And they rushed 3 here, giving Virginia Tech, really didn't put any pressure at all. They decided to drop 8 on third down and long, giving Pettis time to find the hole in the zone. He takes the big hit from Morgan, able to hold on to the ball. But when you give Kellen Moore, with his ability to throw passes, that much time, he's going to make a play.
A very up-tempo attack. They came to the line. And there's a procedure penalty going to be called. They were moving too quickly. And that'll cost them 5 yards.
Like Efall, the tight end that time, getting a little bit of a head start. And Kellen Moore, little things, mixing up his snap count. Doing a good job. Sometimes going on the first sound, other times taking his time and making this Virginia Tech defensive line kind of get into a little bit of a guessing game. They can't find a rhythm right now on the snap.
Your first down and 15. Set the screen pass to the speedster. That's Titus Young. He's the deep threat on the team. And it appears as though the Hokie defense starting to settle in a little bit. Remember, there were 2 mistakes that gave Boise State great field position that led to the 10 points. There was the fumble on the exchange, and there was the blocked punt. So now the defense seems to be settling in a little bit more. Martin is the running back. Tyler Shoemaker will be the slot man to the left. 3 wide. Heat and sacked. Coming right around the corner with Stephen Friday. And now the Hokies are starting to show up. That was a speed rush right around the left tackle.
Nate Potter, the left tackle, 73, underestimating the speed of Stephen Friday, and that's what you're used to seeing from Virginia Tech. Explosiveness off the edge with their defensive ends. Over the years, that's what you'd expect from Virginia Tech, and this time Friday is able to pin his ears back and get around Potter relatively easily.
A 9-yard loss brings up a 3rd and 24, and the Broncos will have to be careful here. Martin breaks loose. Close to a first down. What a run on 3rd and 24. He may be inches from that first down.
What a great job here up front, controlling things. And, you know, it's third down. You think, oh, that's going to run a draw to try to set up a good position for their punt. But these offensive linemen just pushing Virginia Tech around, getting up to the second level in the linebackers. And Doug Martin brings serious burst to that position in the backfield. Even though they're going to punt here, never know with Boise State. Boy, think of the difference between punting close to midfield and compared to being back at your own 30.
Up 10. Hosley is number 20. He's checking over to the bench. He was going to be the return man. He came out late. And so burning a timeout. This is very, very uncharacteristic of Frank Beamer's special teams. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio for SportsCenter right now. Reese.
All right, Ben Roethlisberger had his suspension reduced to 4 games. He's also had his title reduced. He is no longer a Steelers captain. That's coming after a vote of his teammates. Roethlisberger eligible to return after 4 games from his suspension. T.J. Houshmandzadeh has agreed to a 1-year, $855,000 deal with the Baltimore Ravens. Don't forget, SportsCenter is airing on ESPN News right now.
Well, this time Hosley's got it right, and he goes back as the punt returner. And here comes Brotzman. Very busy here in the opening quarter. Kicked off 3 times, kicked a field goal, added an extra point on 4th and 1. He is the youngster who threw that pass against TCU in the bowl game for a big first down. And there's a penalty. This could be another mistake on the Texas Tech, I should say the Virginia Tech special teams. Here they come down the field to the 40-yard line. And there's another flag on the play. Flags are flying right now.
Brent, it's the same young man, DJ Coles. First he roughed the punter, and then after the play was continuing, he lined up and hit a Boise State player. Both penalties are going to end up being on number 18.
Well, remember, it was 4th and 1. So that's a first down for Boise State regardless here. And we'll see how this crew sorts it out and how many yards they're going to tack on this. This is somewhat stunning to those of us who've been around Frank Beamer as much as we have through the years to see the special teams as lopsided as they are here tonight.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Running into the kicker on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Yardage results in a first down. After the play, there was a dead ball, personal foul against the receiving team. 15 yards from the end of that first enforcement, first down.
The blunders continue on special teams. DJ Coles, I said to you, he ran into the punter, which is going to be the first down, but he wasn't done. And this, boy, it's a close call there, but he made up for it with what he did after the whistle, going downfield and just laying into the punter. He's not done yet. That's not what they called. He continued downfield, and he got another shot in right here, late after the whistle.
A one-man wrecking crew. Won't he enjoy that videotape when he gets back in Blacksburg this week?
And think about the special teams mistakes that we've seen. They just keep adding up here.
And we told you that Boise State special teams were underrated coming into this game, and that's been a big difference here so far.
If you're watching this football game right now, it looks like the team in blue is a veteran team that anticipated the speed of the game and came in knowing what to expect with this atmosphere. And you look at the team in black, Virginia Tech, and it looks like there's a lot of inexperience, a lot of guys that are learning throughout this ball game. Doesn't mean they can't come back and win. It just means right now the game's moving a little bit too fast for Virginia Tech.
Well, they punted from their own 48, Boise State did. Now they've got a 1st and 10 at the Virginia Tech 32-yard line, and DJ Harper off the injured list is the running back. Play action to him. Going deep down the sideline and underthrew his wide receiver. He was coming back to the speedster, Young, that time.
Virginia Tech, the last few times that Kellen Moore has dropped back to throw the football, doing a much better job of getting some pressure on him. And with a balanced attack, Boise State's not a finesse team, just spread you all over the field and throw it. They're a team that wants to be able to run the ball to take pressure off of Kellen Moore. So when he decides to get back off of play action, you've got to get pressure from your defensive front.
So Jeremy Avery, a running back, he's out to the left. He'll come in motion now, and he'll take the handoff. This is Avery, the running back, and Avery steps out of bounds as he approaches the 25-yard line. First down marker is at the 22-yard line, so they put Avery in motion. One of the things, Trevor, you've made the point, and you said they look like a veteran team. They are. They've got 20 of 22 starters. That's right. And then throw in Bronzman. And this is a veteran team. He can do whatever he was doing late last season. It's not like you're waiting for youngsters to grow up in this game. Boise State is indeed a veteran team. One of the most experienced in college football this year.
Coming off a big year, 14-0.
Throws for the first down, and he came back to DJ Harper, the junior from Cypress, Texas. DJ may be completely healthy, their fastest running back.
Great job here, little thing, but third down, Kellen Moore recognizing a linebacker blitz and right away seeing that and just dumping it down and being able to find Harper. And it's just a little thing like that. They bring one more guy that I can handle, no problem. Where's my outlet? He gets rid of the ball so quickly, makes decisions so quickly that it makes it tough to get to him. And that's a classic example of why last year Boise State only allowed 5 sacks. Kellen Moore gets rid of the football.
In the red zone, fires incomplete. And he had Pettis breaking deep in that end zone. He scored 1 touchdown and blocked a punt here today. The young man from Anaheim went to Lutheran High School in Southern California. Many of the players on this Boise State team are from California. They do a tremendous job of recruiting in that state. And now here comes a couple of them, Doug Martin and Jeremy Avery. One from Bellflower and the other from Stockton. And of course the coach, Chris Peterson, was a quarterback at UC Davis once upon a time.
Kellen Moore up at the top of the screen here.
So they go to the Wildcat and pick up another 1st and 10 with Avery.
Direct snap with Young coming in motion. Kind of the thing that over the last 5 years we've seen a lot of teams doing in college football, where it's not just a Wildcat, but a guy coming in motion at full speed that you have to respect. And Avery, the Wildcat quarterback, the scat back, the young man with tremendous quickness. Not only is he able to find a little bit of a seam there, but he's a tailback with a football. He accelerates upfield and almost takes it into the end zone.
First down and goal from the 5. Play action, fires in zone, and there's the penalty flag. Gallarda, the tight end, was the intended target, and Hosley was the defender, I believe, in that area, and he drew the flag. Half the distance.
Pass interference, number 20 defense. Foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Well, that's 6'5" going up against a corner who is 5'11", and the left arm clearly comes around and he hooks the big tight end to try to prevent him from getting up to make that catch. It's a good call by the officials.
So he's got a first down and goal, knew it right away. Defensive player hooked the big tight end, and Virginia Tech is reeling here early. DJ Harper, he's the running back. Fires for the end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown! Gallarda sticks with it. The senior from Brea, California, and what a catch. Now, was he inbounds? Let's take a look.
Well, Gallarda puts his big right paw up in the air. Look at the throw, by the way, by Kellen Moore. Only where his guy can make the catch. Secures the football, comes down. We'll have to see from the other angle if he's bobbling it at all, but he goes up to make this catch. That looks like a touchdown.
Dick Honig will look at it upstairs as we rock this back. Watch the football relationship to the body as he comes down. He never lets the end of it touch the ground. That was a magnificent effort by that tight end. Instant replay, of course, we'll take a look at it upstairs, as you know how they do it here in college football. I got to tell you, that was a wonderful catch.
A catch. But how about
reminiscent
the throw?
of Jones of Alabama with that one-hander going in.
He got his elbow underneath him. The ball didn't even come close to touching the turf. It's a matter of does he have possession before he goes out of bounds. See his elbow get underneath to prevent the ball from getting to the turf. Boy, what a great throw, and it was a timing route between Moore and the big tight end. It was 1st and 10, another play-action pass down in the red zone against this Virginia Tech defense.
Herbie, when we went down to Boise to watch the Broncos practice, I came back and said this is really a well-coached football team. When you watch the youngsters in practice down there, they're paying attention to the assistant coaches. Chris Peterson had an idea. He knows how to lighten things up from time to time, make it fun for them. This is a wonderful coaching job that's happening right here. I mean, the bulk of this crowd, obviously, from Virginia Tech, it's a road game. And
long way to go still.
Taking the crowd out of it for the time being.
For the time being.
There is no question.
But it's just fun to see a team out of their comfort zone a bit with all the hype and building up to this game, and they are executing at mid-season form on the biggest stage that they're going to see until they get to a bowl game.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Well, last year against Alabama in the 4th quarter, in that opener, they allowed more than 14. This is the first time since then. And Bud Foster and Frank Beamer, they are not happy campers. There's nothing you could do about that youngster's effort right there. That was a magnificent play. Coverage is right there, and here's Bronsman again. Hello, BCS. Voters, are you paying attention? How about you coaches? What do you think of these guys now? When I said, coaches, are you paying attention? Here's the story. Now, the writers have Boise State ranked 3rd. It does not count in the BCS formula. The coaches do. They have them ranked 5th right now. So we shall see what happens if they keep it up. As Herbie said, long way to go. This is David Wilson again, his 3rd return. Great speed, but he is held by the ankle and out to the 33. And Herbie, what about this D?
Well, this defense has, again, been controlling things up front. And Virginia Tech can't get anything going. In fact, most of their plays have been for no yards or negative yards. Tyrod Taylor doesn't have anybody to find. The pocket's been collapsing. They've tried to move the pocket. They 3rd down here in short. They can't get anything established up front. The last 3 drives, Boise State has gotten this Virginia Tech offense off the field in a hurry. The fumble, the block punt, and then another punt for the Hokies.
Ryan Williams is the running back. And just a great effort by the defensive and the offensive line. We should point out, I got to tell you something. I haven't seen one weakness with Boise State yet.
No, they're putting on a clinic. I love how they swarm to the football, too. I mean, you're seeing 8 or 9 blue helmets flying to the football every single time one of the tailbacks gets the football. He has nowhere to go.
You ever done a game in Boise? You have, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
I got a new blue feel for you.
Yeah,
doesn't shimmer, doesn't shine. Huh? How about
great.
September 25th, Oregon State?
Let's go.
All right.
You just decided it.
2nd down and 10. They got to hold up. They show blitz now. And they back out. Tyrod's in trouble, steps away. Terrific athlete. And well short of the 1st down.
Brent, you just said a terrific athlete. They're rushing 4 here. They're rushing 4, and they're still able to bring him down and chase him down. I mean, it gives you an indication of what kind of speed and athletic ability. This time it's Tyrone Crawford, one of the backup defensive ends, closing in on Tyrod Taylor. He has nowhere to go.
Couldn't come to the end of the 1st. Are you surprised, folks? I'll tell you one place where they're not, and that is in the state of Idaho. What a show so far. $17-0, and Virginia Tech was held to 5 rushing yards, no passing yards in that 1st quarter. Passing situation, 3rd and 8. Virginia Tech has not crossed midfield yet in this game. Taylor takes off for it and picks up the 1st down. Gets to the 45-yard line.
Well, this time I think Tyrod Taylor has some time. He's able to step up in the pocket, but he's got to, right now I think he's a little bit confused. Even when he does have time to throw and he's got a few open receivers downfield, I think he is so intimidated by what's happening up front on the defensive line from Boise State that he's getting out of there. And that time he was fortunate to be able to just pick up some yards and pick up the first down by scrambling.
Senior changing it up. Stands tall and delivers his first completion, and the first time they've crossed midfield, and that is a first down at the 40-yard line. Dyrell Roberts, the junior from Smithfield.
Look at the time that the offensive line gave him this time. It's the first time that Tyrod Taylor was able to sit in the pocket and be able to evaluate the defense, and that time be comfortable and be in rhythm and step into the throw. That took a long time for that play to develop. Good job up front that time by the Hokies.
On a cutback run for another first down, and moving the ball is Williams now. Ryan Williams with his best run on a little bit of a cutback move.
Well, it's outstanding vision this time, being able to recognize the hole. He gets a good block, a seal block to the inside, but he saw the hole in the cutback. Remember, Ryan Williams last year as a freshman had over 1,600 yards. If you can give him, just give him a little bit of room to help him. That's the first time we've seen a crease in the Boise State defense.
Coming off of that third down, the Hokies find a life here early in the second quarter, but can they finish? Williams is tracked. Breaks free with that great athletic ability, but still he is thrown for a monstrous loss. And look at that pack of Broncos.
This time they blitzed the linebackers, and you said it, a pack of Broncos. Look at all the blue pants and the blue helmets. Ryan Williams does everything he can to keep the play alive, but you know what? It's like playing kill the man in the backyard. Eventually, all these guys are going to be able to take you down. There's nowhere to go.
And he's a dead hombre, I'll tell you. J.C. Percy, sophomore from Blackfoot, Idaho, is one of the linebackers in there on Williams. So now it's second down at 15 after the loss. For vertical. Deflected. Incomplete. And there's a penalty flag on the far side. Remember, once that ball is touched, I think there's illegal procedure here against Virginia Tech. Remember now that once that ball is tipped,
against the offense,
you can unload on the receiver. So not only that, but you can see how well coached these Boise State youngsters are over here on the near side on that pass. When it was deflected, look out, receiver.
Oh, yeah. These guys are physical. They're well coached, and they get after it. They have a new defensive coordinator this year, and Pete Kwiatkowski taking over for Justin Wilcox, who went to Tennessee. But it's the same characteristics that we've seen over the years from Boise State.
Rush 4, drop to coverage, lobs wide open, bangs to the end zone, and down at the 1-yard line is Jared Boykin, the junior from Matthews, North Carolina, and the Hokies are in business.
Brad, this is a nice job of execution. Danny Cole actually does his job by taking the safety to the middle of the field just for a step or two. And by doing that, it gave Boykin enough room behind him to be able to come up with the catch.
He is down. And instant replay will run it back, take a look at it. We expected to see Ryan Williams and Darren Evans in the same backfield. And the Hokies able to come with that. And then they went downfield to Boykin and the junior. So Dick Honig will take a look at this upstairs.
Hey, Brandon, definitely is going to be about a yard short, but this is the man that they're able to pick on because of Cole giving him just a little bit of a move, and it creates a vacancy out here. Watch the safety and watch how they're able to open this down. Cole makes a little move right there, and Teron Johnson, just by taking a couple stutter steps to the middle of the field following Cole, it gave Tyrod Taylor some room there to work with to Boykin.
Herbie, they really missed Kyle Wilson on that play.
Yeah.
That is the corner there, and he sort of held back a little bit as you were showing that with the safety cut for the one, and he was late coming up over the top. But there was a little indecision there on the part of Taylor. Remember, he's only a sophomore from San Diego, and when you got a first-round draft choice playing that corner, you know, you're going to lose something when he moves out. He's with the New York Jets, and he was a fine football player.
Yeah, the safety took just a few steps into the middle of the field.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Ball is short of the goal line. First down.
Yeah, and you know, the great thing there for Tyrod Taylor is that's the area that I think it's probably his strongest area in throwing the football is the vertical pass. He has a nice touch on it. It's the throw that he's most comfortable with. But I'll tell you, if you're Tyrod Taylor, if you're Ryan Williams, all this great skill for Virginia Tech, it's hard to do this unless you're getting the help up front. And this drive, they've finally been helping him out.
Here's that ISO look again. Williams is a tailback. And again, it is jumped by Boise. That is twice that they have tried the ISO with Younger as the leader. Winter Swike, fine defensive end. He's out of La Habra, California.
You know what? The way this game has gone, I don't know if Virginia Tech can just line up and play power football against Boise State.
I agree.
Everybody listen to that. BCS, people that follow them. Virginia Tech in a powerful running game over the years cannot line up and just run right into Boise State.
We're going to try it again, Herbie. Oh! Bangs in that time. Williams. He heard you, Herbie. He said, I'll show you. I'll show you, Kurt.
He had a heck of a collision before he got into the end zone. Great effort. Looks like he was able to extend the football before his knee touched. So it is a good touchdown. But Teron Johnson, who led this team a year ago in tackles, not intimidated at all and leveling or taking a good shot there at Ryan Williams. But give Williams credit. He fought it off and was able to overpower him and get into the end zone.
Now it's Hazley. The punter. Saunders is the holder. So the first quarter belonged completely to Boise State, but the Hokies come alive, and it goes back to that third down conversion by Tyrod Taylor. (17-7) as the Hokies score for the first time in this game here in the second quarter. It's interesting, all summer long Boise State was an early favorite in this game, but as we got closer and closer to kickoff, the Hokies became a slight favorite, and here they are trailing it by 10. Now the young man Boise State wants to have return this is Titus Young, the senior from Los Angeles, California, #1. And they kick it away from him and out of bounds. So trying to avoid Young with that kickoff costs them as we check in with the studio and Reese Davis.
Ball be placed at the 40-yard.
Brent, just want to give you a little update over on ESPN2 right now. 4th round play at the U.S. Open. The second seed Roger Federer taking on Jurgen Meltzer. They're in the second set right now. Actually, in the first set, I should say, and Federer has a 2-1 lead.
Here it is 17-7. DJ Harper checks in, and they go empty. Offensive line holds, and wide open is Titus. The deep threat, mercy, too soft on somebody like that. And Heather Cox, what are you hearing down at the sideline?
Guys, we can't forget that Virginia Tech defense returns just 4 starters, and they look shell-shocked after giving up 17. So defensive coordinator Bud Foster called every single member of his young defense over. He huddled them tightly together and preached to them, you guys have to converge, have to start talking, playing together. We'll see if the motivation works on this possession.
Yeah, Heather, it didn't work on that last play. 28 yards, comes back incomplete. And that time the defensive back Hosley tried to jump it over there.
Yeah, when a game starts like this, even if you have a veteran defense, it's tough to be able to get them to settle down and get confidence. Right now what Bud Foster is facing is you can see it. You can see it when you watch the call go in. And you got to remember, not only are they getting the call from Bud Foster, what a great job by Boise State of mixing up their formations and personnel groupings. And it has Virginia Tech right now confused with that inexperience and how quick they're getting to the line.
Now DJ Harper is the running back again. The middle to the 29-yard line, and that will bring up the 3rd down. GW made the stop. Gouveia Winslow, simply known as GW.
Okay, you sure? They signed off
I
of
checked on that one.
Right.
Oh,
I like GW.
I go right to the trainers. You know,
Yeah. I hear you.
we call him a lot.
Well, you know, he is a sophomore, and he's trying to replace Cody Graham, who was their leading tackler, but also the emotional spark plug and leader. So old GW's got a big job tonight for this Hokie defense.
Here's your 3rd and 8 for Kellen. Deflected, incomplete. That ball was not perfectly thrown, and Antone Exum, a redshirt freshman from Glen Allen, Virginia, #1, was right there.
The blitz came this time. It's Gibson, number 44, getting in there. And even though you got a quarterback in Kellen Moore who has a great touch, that time he had to get rid of the football before he was ready. The play didn't have a chance to really fully develop. And it's a good job by the Hokies of forcing his field goal.
So Brotzman, a 47-yarder. Remember, he's on the left hash. This has been a nightmare for him. Bangs that one. Yes. From the left hash, Kyle Brotzman. Look how happy he is. See, I told you guys, stick with me.
Had it the whole time.
27 timeout.
All-State kickoff in the Capitol. Brought to you by Bud Light. It's a sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at nbusa.com.
And for the first time since 2008 against Boston College, Virginia Tech has allowed 20 points in the first half. That last drive, remember, started at the 40 after Virginia Tech kicked the ball out of bounds, trying to keep it away from Titus Young. So now they will receive it with Wilson and Roberts back deep. Brotzman with a short high kick, and Wilson runs up at the 25-yard line and breaks free close to midfield, wrapped up at the 48. And so Herbie, what a Saturday coming up in college football. What jumps off the page at you here?
Well, after last Saturday, it just excites me. I mean, how many great games can you handle in one weekend? And it starts with the big game on ESPN2, and you can just go throughout your entire day. This is one of those weekends you get your chores out of the way on Friday, get everything done, and just settle in early and just lock and load. Do games on all day and all night.
Well, a big day coming up in college football. Good to have the season underway. And of course, the way it's played, there's no better regular season with any sport, anywhere, anytime. A meaningful game on Labor Day. You just don't get it that first week.
You know, the one thing, Brent, about Boise State over the last couple of years, especially last year, when they have time to prepare, they have a tendency against good teams to play well. Look what they did last year when they opened up with Oregon. Only allowed 8 points, 31 rushing yards. And then, of course, in the big bowl game, the Fiesta Bowl against TCU, only 10 points and only 36 yards rushing. So a little bit of a track record for this particular defense and these players for when they have time to get ready. They do a great job of preparing them and what they're facing.
Coach Peterson just a little uneasy right now. 2nd down and 8. You can see by that look on the face. And Virginia Tech took it down the field that last time. He wants to get a defensive stop here. And he does against Taylor. Put him in 3rd and long. Take it any time. And there's Jamar Taylor. He's a youngster, big shoes to fill.
Yep, the young sophomore that time, kind of a delayed blitz, waiting to see if he had a chance to step in there. And Taylor is physical, even though he's a sophomore, 5'11", about 193 pounds, has big shoes to fill. But I think when you're the only guy that needs to step up and you have 10 other guys that have been around, it makes his job a little bit easier.
Pete Witkowski is the defensive coordinator. Once he was a defensive coordinator up at Bozeman with Montana State. 3rd down and 11. Got a wide open receiver. And complete to Marcus Davis, a sophomore from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and a big play for 24 yards.
Well, Marcus Davis is a sophomore, is a physical freak at 6'4", 235, has a 42-inch vertical. This time, there's a little bit of confusion there with 17, Winston Venable, and the safety, Iloka. He gets over to Iloka, almost is able to separate Davis from the ball, but again, that time it took a lot of time for the play to develop. Good job of picking up the blitz and giving Taylor time.
Taylor is settling in. Fake on the screen, keeps it, and barges close to the 20-yard line.
When you have an athletic quarterback, you almost can count him as a tailback. This time, Darren Evans leads inside and picks up a valuable block for Taylor. And the great thing about Tyrod Taylor that time is he ran aggressively. He didn't hesitate. He was not indecisive. He got back there. He knew exactly what he wanted to do and accelerated upfield.
With only 5 yards in the first quarter, they have now gained 102 yards here, and they're starting to move the football, starting to gain big chunks. Darren Evans, the young man, of course, who missed last year with that ACL, gave Ryan Williams the big chance. And the junior from Indianapolis, who once, I believe, was Mr. Football in Indiana, now coming off, and Williams will step in. 1st down and 10.
Here's the experience of Taylor. Sees a formation that he wants to try to attack.
And brings the end around. And Boise State did not bite. Danny Cole could not pick it up. The junior from Lexington, Virginia.
This defense is way too experienced and disciplined to be able to get them on a play like this.
Got a penalty. O'Neal sorts it out with his crew.
After the play was over, personal foul, 94 defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic 1st down.
That's a mental blunder on Byron Hout.
Just talking about their discipline, they come up with a personal foul. Give the Hokies a 1st down. They're in position there, did everything that they had to do. So instead of it being 2nd long, it's 1st and goal.
And they bang with the fullback. So a quick handoff, trying to catch him unaware in the middle.
One of the first costly mistakes we've really seen from this Boise State team.
No question. Oglesby will come back out now, and an extra wide receiver will come in. And Virginia Tech will spread the field a little bit. Dyrell Roberts will join the other wideouts. From the gun. Taylor kept it. And Boise State keeping an eye on the elusive quarterback. That was McClellan. Number 92 doing a good job of staying at home there, Herbie.
Well, McClellan stays at home, and he also is fighting off one of the more physical tight ends in the ACC, Andre Smith, at 6'5", 272 pounds. I mean, these guys, this Boise State defense, well coached and physical. You really got to earn it if you're going to be able to execute against these guys.
3rd down right here. receivers covered. And he is sacked. That was McClellan again. Closing in, and Taylor did not get rid of it, and that'll bring the field goal kicking team.
Look at this coverage. You're going to have the backside receiver trying to come here to try to see if he can find an opening, but it's just a good job of being everywhere. And Taylor, once he starts to scramble, he wants to try to find one of the crossing routes, but they're not open, and the speed of Boise State is able to chase him down. Again, McClellan.
So Hazley on the field for the field goal. This will be a 34-yarder. Tech to within 10. Off to the right. No good. From the left hash. Misses outside the right upright. And special team woes continue for the Hokies. Well, this telecast is available in 3D on ESPN 3D. Brought to you by Sony. And fans are here at the Bud Light viewing party outside FedEx Field. Got the glasses on, experiencing the latest technology firsthand. Now there they are. And if you're a Boise State fan, this looks real good in 3D. They've scored all 4 possessions, 2 field goals and 2 touchdowns, and that's DJ Harper with the ball right now. Irving.
You can see the miscues for Virginia Tech, which you don't expect this from a Virginia Tech team. And we understand there's some youth in some key areas, and that's all part of the opening night, playing a quality opponent, a veteran opponent. But it started really from the opening kickoff, Brent. Remember when David Wilson should have stayed back and then he decided to come out?
Exactly. Here is the pitch to Harper on a cutback. Short of the first down.
And I know you're a big fan of the NFL game, and the one thing that we see a lot of now in the NFL is all the great teams in the NFL seem to have 2 quality backs. And I think even at the college game you see it. Everybody talks about the spread, but to really be an efficient team, you need some depth in that position. And the Boise State can attack you with Doug Martin. They can come in with Avery and, of course, DJ Harper. And they're almost identical to one another. Similar characteristics and same type of attitude and speed.
Absolutely, Herbie. And Doug Martin is back in there right now on this 3rd and short. He'll get the call. Cuts over to the left and he's short. Fumble. Still loose. And Virginia Tech has got it. Whitley makes a big play defensively here for the Hokies.
Whitley with a big hit there, Brent, and it's exactly what Virginia Tech and Bud Foster needed to see happen to get the momentum back in their favor. Whitley with the hit, the ball comes loose, and then it's Gibson, the big linebacker, finally pouncing on the ball for the Hokies, and they've got great field position. We'll see if they can capitalize.
So a break for the Hokies. After the missed field goal, they get it right back inside the 40-yard line. 3:18 in the first half. Play action. Taylor can take off. Will pick up the first down. He stayed with it a long time and then took off and picked up an easy first down.
Yeah, people want to compare him to Michael Vick. Michael Vick would have been 35 or 40 yards downfield when he wore a Hokies jersey. This is a young man who likes to scramble, break, contain, and then patiently wait, find a receiver, maybe 20 or 30 yards downfield. He gave it all the time that he could. Good coverage. He finally turns it upfield. You can't be too patient. If it's there, take off and pick up the yards.
There are the 2 backs, both Williams motioning, and Evans is right next to Tyrod. And he will come busting up the middle close to the 20-yard line. Darren Evans, the junior.
Great to see Darren Evans back in a Hokies uniform. Brent, you talked about it a little bit earlier, what he went through last year. And at a time when he went down with the knee injury, Virginia Tech with 2 freshmen, David Wilson, who just entered the game, and Ryan Williams, it was a bit of a guessing game who would develop. But now he's worked hard, and Evans is back playing for the Hokies.
Here they want to get the speedster, Wilson, as Evans will come back into the backfield. And they'll motion Wilson out. Fires to the 15-yard line and a first down for the Hokies. That was a well-thrown ball that time.
Well, Tyrod Taylor, like any quarterback, if you can allow him to get into a little bit of a rhythm, allow him to sit back there and take a hitch or two and read the defense. They were so concerned about Darren Evans out to the flat. It gave him a nice opening there that time for the throw.
So Cole picks up the first down. Now they bring the end around again, and that was Wilson lining up on the outside. He's their third running back. They were thinking about redshirting David Wilson, and I was talking with Billy Height at practice, Virginia Tech practice, and he said he just wouldn't allow us to redshirt him. He just showed us too much. We've got to keep him on this active roster, and we've got to give him some touches. He's been returning kickoffs, end arounds, and so they're indeed doing just that. And now Ryan Williams checks back in on this second down and 8. Taylor. Wide open was his running back for the touchdown. I mean, Ryan Williams had no one on him. Second touchdown of the night. And the Hokies are within an extra point of closing back to within 6.
And with an athletic quarterback, the defense has to always be concerned about him potentially taking off and running with the football. That time, Tevis, the linebacker, left his man. Ryan Williams thought he had to take away Tyrod Taylor going into the end zone. Made an easy throw to Williams for a touchdown.
Hasley. So, folks, the first quarter belonged to Boise State. The second quarter, let's just say that the establishment is coming back. Well, there is Tyrod Taylor, who has led the Hokies back down to their second touchdown here in the second quarter. A little bit of cat and mouse going on with the return men right now. Ball on the tee for Meyer. And Young is going to take it a yard deep and come on out. And he is stopped right by the 20-yard line. And we check in with Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, Brent, coming up on the Olive Garden halftime report, we'll show you all the great plays from week 1 and look ahead to a monster week 2, a huge one in college football. Navy and Maryland came right down to about that far. We'll show it to you. Mark and Lou are here. We'll see you guys coming up in just a little bit at halftime.
All right, Reese, we look forward to that. Here, the Hokies now have 140 yards of offense to 125 for Boise State. Avery will take a shot at that running back spot. Only about a yard on first down. Bud Foster's defense slowly starting to climb back in this game. Forced a turnover on that last series.
Yeah, you force a turnover, and then the offense is able to capitalize. All of a sudden, you get back within 6 points. You're one possession away, and the way this game felt to where it is now, it's so important. It was so important for Virginia Tech to get their confidence reestablished and get the crowd back into the game.
You know, I don't want to make too much of a thing out of it, but coming as far from the west to the east as Boise State did, and then a little bit more humidity than they're accustomed to, might start to wear on them a little bit now as this game goes on, Herbie.
How is it living in Montana with no humidity?
Awesome.
Boise, Idaho, Montana. Life,
you know, when you drive down to Boise State from the Missoula area, that's it, man. When you let me give you an idea of here is where Boise, Idaho is, right down there.
They just went over your house.
That's it. That's right over there. 2,386 miles, folks.
That's a home game.
Yep, and the Hokies have thousands here, and they are back in it now. Second down, Kellen Moore is back. Fires downfield, wide open for a first down, and Titus Young with that speed, Herbie, he's been able to get wide open twice here in the first half.
And you love to see Boise State. The momentum is switched, and Titus Young gets a free release. Nobody's going to challenge him, and he's going up against a corner that time. He's able to make a nice move to the outside, and Hosley can't stay with him, but it's the timing between a veteran quarterback and a veteran receiver. They've worked so much together. They know their tendencies, and the timing is perfect that time between Moore and Titus Young.
Another 21 yards for Titus Young. 4 catches, 52 total. Harper's the running back. Kellen in the middle, very close to another first down, and that's Kyle Efaw. He was the tight end who caught that trickeration against TCU.
30 seconds to go. Kellen Moore still 2 timeouts left. A lot of time to work with.
Got to get the chains moved. Now they're set. Keller throws it out of bounds.
This kicker that you've talked a lot about tonight, Broadsman, has a long of 52 yards. So you get inside that 35-yard line, even inside the 40, he's got a real shot at being able to at least get 3 points here for the Broncos.
He's lacing them up. Young and Pettis go to the opposite sides. Down the middle for Young, overthrew him, and he was well covered. They had him bracketed, Herbie.
They had him bracketed, and Rashad Carmichael, who's one of the top defensive backs, again in the ACC, had a great year last year, stepping with him, running with him, right down the middle of the screen. You can see it. Not only is he staying with him, but the ball hung up a little bit, and it gave both the safeties a chance to get over. Titus Young didn't have any chance at all coming up with that.
Third down and 10. Shoemaker goes out wide to the right. Harper now joins him. Here's the third down. Kellen wants to throw the screen, and it is eaten up. Tyler Shoemaker. And this is a little bit out of field goal kicker's range right now. Timeout has been called by Virginia Tech, and there's an injured player down, and is that Drager who is down?
Yeah, I think it is Drager who reacted first. Tried to come up, and his right knee looked like he got caught up in a collision where he's trying to make the tackle. Let's hope that he's okay.
Yeah, that is Chris Drager. He's a junior out of Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania. Frank Beamer, other than Joe Paterno, longest tenure at one school, has done just a tremendous job of coaching these Hokies. As Herbie pointed out, one of our pregame hits, that early in the season the Hokies have had most of their problems here lately, and tonight they gave up 17 in the first quarter, scored 2 touchdowns in the second, and they trailed it by 6 with the final seconds about to tick away here. And Hosley's going to go back deep. 9 seconds. Nice snap, and they get into Broadsman, but he hit the football. That is legal. There is no penalty on that, as he hit the football, and that was Morgan. Davon Morgan got to Broadsman and shook him up.
Well, it looked like they might get the pressure from the outside, but Morgan comes right at the middle. Brett, he was coming in so fast, I thought he had a clean shot at it. But he tipped the ball, and that's why it's not roughing there.
Let's check in now with Heather Cox and Coach Frank Beamer. Heather.
Brent, thank you. Coach Beamer, when you think Virginia Tech, you think special teams. What's been your biggest disappointment in that area so far?
Well, we had a foul up on our first spot. Then when, we come after and been close, got an interference on their punt. We're real close there to blocking that thing was right then. But, it's kind of going back and forth. But it's the second half to play right now.
Indeed, and Coach, your offense really looked stunned by BSU's defense in the first quarter. How did you ignite your offense in the second?
Well, you know what happened? We fumbled on the second play of the game and then get a punt block, and then, it just took us a little time to get going there. But I think we're going to be fine offensively.
Coach, we'll let you get to your team. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And now let's go to Reese Davis, Mark May, and the good doctor, Lou Holtz, for the Olive Garden halftime report.
This halftime report is presented by Olive Garden. When you're here, your family.
What a great Saturday we have coming up in store for you. Wow, this is a great Labor Day night matchup between Boise State and Virginia Tech. Monster Saturday is on the horizon, a Saturday filled with national championship rematches, both from the BCS era and before. #1 Alabama welcomes Penn State and Joe Paterno.
Can Joe take his young team down there with a freshman quarterback and contend with Alabama? Greg McElroy, Trent Richardson, Julio Jones, all the stars for Alabama. This is going to be a great game to watch.
But not all the stars, because Marcel Darius and Mark Ingram.
All the stars that are healthy and eligible.
All right, those two will not play in that game, or Ingram at least not expected to. Florida State and Oklahoma. Jimbo Fisher now has Bob Stoops' younger brother, Mark Stoops, running his defense. DeMarco Murray went for over 200 in the opener. Much closer game than Oklahoma expected against Utah State. You can see it Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Seminoles played with a lot of energy. I know it was Samford, but they looked very crisp. I know. Miami and Ohio State, 3:40 Eastern time on ESPN. Brandon Sane, Terrell Pryor, and the Buckeyes got off to a great start against Marshall. The Hurricanes played FAMU, had no trouble. Got two young, dynamic quarterbacks, playmakers on both sides. Great defensive lines on both sides for that one. And then Michigan and Notre Dame.
Oh, this is always a great game because it's such a great rivalry, such great emotion. And Coach Kelly has done a tremendous job at Notre Dame in a short period of time. But Denard Robinson is so excited. You want to see him, as is Armando Allen. I mean, he can run. He can do a variety of different things. Ought to be a great contest.
All of them are going to be great, monstrous on Saturday. But which one intrigues you the most?
It's got to be Ohio State and Miami because you've got two tremendous quarterbacks. Terrell Pryor had a great game in his first game against Marshall, threw for 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Ja'Cory Harris had a great game against FAMU, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So it's going to be a great clash, two great defenses, but Miami's defense got 8 sacks in that game. Look out, Terrell Pryor.
Well, if I have one television, I am not going to miss the Florida State-Oklahoma game because when you look at Oklahoma, they had 5 losses last year. They're going to bounce back. They think they have a chance for national championship. All of a sudden, Florida State is so impressive in their opening ball game, Christian Ponder, but the way they played on defense, kick game, etc., they're going out to Norman, Oklahoma. It's going to be a great contest.
It was Samford between you two guys. Florida State played Samford. They should have looked good.
What do you have against Samford?
But fair enough to say that they looked crisper than they have maybe in early season games in recent years, right? I think that's fair. All right, let's see how they play against. Let's see how they do. The competition will ratchet up on Saturday when the Sooners welcome in the Seminoles. Competition in high gear. A great throw and catch. Boise State, Gallardo hauling it in. Broncos up by 6 at the break.
This is Dick's Sporting Goods Kickoff Week.
We welcome you back to the All-State Kickoff in the capital. Boise State and Virginia Tech move to the second half with Virginia Tech having closed to within 6 and trailing at 20-14. I'm Brent Musburger with Heather Cox and, of course, Kirk Herbstreit. And Herbie, Boise State gets the ball first now to start the second half. Very important for them.
I think it is. I mean, the way the half ended, Virginia Tech looked like, boy, this Boise State team is for real, and all of a sudden they settled down. We're able to make some adjustments, and just the Castrol GTX protection spotlight. And one of the things you saw early, if you're watching this game, is Virginia Tech struggled to do anything. They were being dominated up front in the trenches. They weren't protecting Tyrod Taylor at all, giving him any time to do anything. And then they were able to settle down, put a few drives together, and when you give Tyrod Taylor some time, he can improvise and make plays like this, and that's how the Hokies got back into this.
It was a tale of 2 quarters, if you will, because in the first quarter, Taylor and the Hokie offense had only 5 yards, and Boise State put 17 points on the board in that opening quarter. But then in the second quarter, Virginia Tech started to dominate, putting 2 touchdowns on the board and 135 yards. So here we go. Young deep in that end zone from 9 yards back, bringing it out. Oh, there's a penalty. And another flag. And Young is over there surrounded by Hokies, and good officiating, jumping right in there. Big Ten crew working this game tonight between the WAC.
During the return, holding, number 30 return team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
Let's check in with Heather Cox. Heather?
Brent, Chris Peterson talked to his team at halftime about the importance of ball security and hanging on to the ball. Now, you talked about the tale of two halves. Chris Peterson said, we didn't execute any differently. Virginia Tech just started to make plays. The question was asked, will they put a spy on Tyrod Taylor? He said, no, we just have to go after him. Look for more aggressive defense in the second half.
All right, Heather. And after the penalty, the spot will be the 13-yard line. Doug Martin, he's your eye back. Gets the call to start it and breaks free. Big gain on the opening play out to the 33-yard line. A gash.
They do a great job of creasing this defense. The left side, Nate Potter picks up a big block. And one of the things that you love to see is to start off a half and getting physical and challenging Virginia Tech's defense right up the middle. And the way Martin's running, that big offensive line, all they have to do is just give him a little bit of room, and he's able to get big yards.
Herbie, give 47. Dan Paul, the fullback, credit on that play, too. He really sealed up that outside backer, and there, of course, is a flag prior to the snap.
Full start. 61 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So they make a good play, and then they have a blunder, and it costs them 5 yards.
Looks like they're trying to come out with his quick tempo. Up to the line quick. Trying to get physical. Be interesting to see how quick it takes for them to get the play action off of that same look.
Thomas Bird, the junior from California, is the center. Foster with a late shift on that front. And he picks up a couple of yards. Doug Martin and Whitley, the safety, up to make the stop. Number 15 out of Matthews, North Carolina.
On one hand, you love to see Eddie Whitley, a junior, come up. He's a former defensive or former cornerback, now playing safety. He was the young man who was out of position early in the game when Boise State did play action, and they went behind him for a big pass play. And I'm sure right now Brian Harsin, the offensive coordinator, is checking and monitoring how quickly those safeties are coming up.
Pump fake by Kellen. Comes back just beyond the original line of scrimmage there, and forcing Carmichael to make another defensive play on that side. Doug Martin.
One of the challenges I think Bud Foster realizes that he's facing tonight is there have not been many times that Virginia Tech has pressured Kellen Moore by just rushing 4. More often than not, they've had to get creative with some kind of blitz or stunt to try to confuse Boise State up front, and because of that, you put more pressure on your secondary when you have to blitz to be able to get your pressure.
Kellen brings a protector in, and they jump the receiver. No interference on the play. That is Davon Morgan jumping Austin Pettis, and he did a fine job.
This will be good, and of course we have the ability to look at this in slow-mo to be able to see whether or not he gets there a little bit early. I think it's a good no call. In the eyes of Kellen Moore, reading this defense, trying to find out there's his guy. He knows he's in rhythm, makes a good throw, but Morgan gets there right as the ball makes contact with the receiver.
Remember, they were in on the last punt. And they force a mediocre punt. Takes a bit of a Boise State roll, but what happened at the end of the first half, that influenced the punter in that situation. So when you come back, it'll be Virginia Tech with the ball here in the second half. Well, the offensive line, Chris Strouser going over things with the offensive line. Thomas Baird there to the right is the center. They have to straighten out their blocking against this Bud Foster defense. Meanwhile, Taylor throws incomplete on first down. This is the first series of the second half for the Hokies right now, who trail it by 6. Danny Cole working downfield.
Remember how this the first half ended for Virginia Tech. They put together in their last 3 drives, probably the best 3 drives that they have had all night. 9 plays and a touchdown, 10 plays and a missed field goal, then 5 plays and that touchdown to Ryan Williams. So they were able to make some adjustments. The most important adjustment is the offensive line started to, I think, play a lot better against this aggressive Boise defense.
Base 4-3. Snap it off to the outside, and there is an aggressive tackle by Brandon Thompson, and he is a senior from California.
It is hard not to appreciate what Boise State does with the defense. And I know they've been around, and I know they're an experienced group, but you have to love how they attack, how they're aggressive. They always seem to be in the right place. They get everything out of each individual guy, and collectively as a group of 11, they're tough as a force to reckon with.
3rd down and 10 for the Hokies. Taylor steps up in the pocket, and he will be short of that first down, and the Hokies are forced to punt. Good defense that time by the Broncos, Herbie.
Great defense, and they got pressure again with 4. We just talked about the reason Virginia Tech towards the end of the first half was able to build a little bit of continuities because of the way they played up front. Well, that time they just got beaten up front across the board, and especially off the edge by the Boise State defensive ends.
Burrows is back deep for the Saunders punt. Down at the 34. Excellent coverage on that punt. And a reminder that Monday night, the NFL kicks off on September 13th with a doubleheader. 7 Eastern, the Jets being picked by a lot of people with the Baltimore Ravens. That's at 7 Eastern. Remember these times then. And following that, of course, will be San Diego and Kansas City. So are the Jets for real, or are they simply a lot of hype? We're about to find out starting Monday night. Ravens might be overlooked by a few folks. That's going to be a dandy. Doug Martin. There's the draw play. Stephen Friday making the stop for the Hokies that time.
We talked a lot about the Virginia Tech offensive line going up against Boise State and their defensive line, and we also talked a lot about Stephen Friday and the youth up front for Virginia Tech. But it's interesting to watch the battle, the play calling, the aggressiveness from Boise State against the inexperience, and the Virginia Tech defense. It seems to be getting better as this game goes on.
Avery, and they've brought him on an end around look, and they do that again, bring him through the formation, but they're going to throw off of it this time. They might have him wide open. There's a penalty flag. He dropped it anyway. There's going to be a holding call.
And of course, there was a holding call. Thomas Baird, the center, was guilty of it, but that's a play that Boise State might want to think about coming back to because Avery was all alone out there.
66 offense, 10 yards from the previous spot. Still second down.
You know, Kellen Moore, again, one of the few mistakes right in the middle. The center makes it as good a block as he can early, and then right there just throws down the big fella Battle. But the play was to the outside. There's nobody that went to the outside with Avery. It's a play that you can bet the Broncos will look back into later in the game.
Second and 19, in trouble, and a great pitch by Kellen Moore to Titus Young. I mean, that was remarkable because he was under enormous pressure and had to fire it up in the air, and Titus was there to grab it. That's 16 yards here.
And this is anticipation of a guy who's played a lot of college football. He throws his football, and look at that. He's making a throw right over top of 82 in his zone pressure. The defensive end dropping into the zone. He's a big man. Friday at 6'4", he throws it right over top of him, and a perfect touch, and comes down to Young.
Going to throw on 3rd and 4. Kellen's in trouble. Fumble. Offensive lineman. I think it was an incomplete pass. I thought. Now we'll have to wait and see, because the battle for the football, they signal that Virginia Tech has it. It's possible that he was cocking his arm. He was having trouble getting away from his own lineman. So let's let everybody sort it out. Herbie, you take the first look here.
Well, Moore, I think, again, he's looking to try to dump this ball off onto the flat, and he finally sees it, but there's just so much pressure. The ball actually falls out of his hand before his arm is coming forward. We can take a look at it real slow.
This is Potter, who's over there, number 73. He can't get away from his own tackle as he tries to bring the arm through, and the ball is jarred free, and it is a turnover. So the ball was knocked out on the collision with his offensive lineman, and here comes Williams now, starting to pound Ryan Williams. Let's take another look at this play. There's no question the ball came out. It was a fumble.
And Potter's doing everything he can to hold off Friday. He pushes him down. Now he's just standing there, and you're right. You can see the ball comes back. It might have been his right wrist or his hand. When he tried to bring the ball forward, just bumped into Potter, and Hokie's there to pick it up, and now the pressure falls on this Boise State defense.
2nd and 6. Quick to the outside for a first down, and that's Roberts, one of the speedsters, the junior.
Roberts, who played tailback in high school, is a guy that they just try to get the football to in space. And a great throw from Tyrod Taylor by leading Roberts up the field, and then he picked up a block by Boykin. All those little things have to happen to be able to execute there and pick up the yards for the first down.
They're throwing a little bit of a slip screen to the outside, and Boykin that time.
Brian Steinspring trying to do the best that he can, and as the offensive coordinator for Virginia Tech, mixing up the looks, trying to throw some on 1st and 10, anything he can do to try to slow down Boise State and that pressure that they're putting on Tyrod Taylor.
Play is being signaled in, and I think Tyrod, you could read his lips, wanted to hurry up a little bit. And here is Williams, the battering ram, and it is 1st and goal. And they are now starting to wear down this Boise State defense with number 34, the sophomore.
Brent, watch the right guard right here, and the block that he picks up that ends up setting free Ryan Williams right there. Boom! He takes care of that blitz, knocks him down, and there's a huge crease. What a good block that time by Brooks. And that's taken a fight back to Boise State. I think those boys are getting tired of getting beaten up. They're starting to get aggressive.
1st and goal, and they will come back with him again. Ron Johnson, the senior from Compton, California, in on that stop of Williams. There is no question, but this young man, Ryan Williams, who got a shot last year because of Darren Evans' injury, is a big-time force at running back. He can wear you away, this rascal. And we've got a timeout with an injured Boise State player down. Yeah, it looks like Johnson is down. Yes, that's who it is. Down. One of the things you have to be a little bit concerned about here in the second half, we had talked about earlier, is cramping up with the humidity, and Boise State coming as far as they did for this trip. as we hit the second half. Let's check in with Heather Cox down below.
Well, you see what Ryan Williams has been doing. His main focus entering tonight's game was to make sure he was physically fit, which wasn't the case last season when he came in out of shape and was demoted to number 3. He worked his way back up, running twice a day during summer, has dropped 10 pounds, and says, now I don't trip over my feet. I am faster than I've ever been.
And he is showing it here tonight. Second down and goal. Taylor keeps it, cuts back, and he's down at the 1-yard line.
It's a great job of improvising here by Tyrod Taylor. He is actually looking off to his right there, Brent, the big tight end, one-on-one, but it was good coverage, so he had to improvise. There are two Bronco defenders who were taking that fake to the left. He did a good job of cutting it back inside and got it inside the 1-yard line.
From the 1, Williams for his 3rd touchdown of the night. He's run into and caught a pass for a 3rd. And remember, Virginia Tech trailed 17-0 after the first quarter, and they're within an extra point of taking the lead for the first time here tonight, and they are starting to wear Boise State down.
Brett, if this extra point is good, the last time Boise State trailed in the second half of a football game, regular season game, Hawaii in 2007. It's been a while.
That is the last WAC team, by the way, to beat Boise State, and there it is. The Broncos have fallen behind. What do they have left in their tank? Can they stop and slow number 34? We'll answer the questions.
All-State kickoff in the Capitol. Brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move.
80,000 plus on hand at FedEx Field. And Young driven 9 yards back, and this time he will take the knee.
There haven't been many times that Boise State has trailed over the last couple years with Kellen Moore under center, but you can see the numbers and what he's been able to do and the composure that he has when the Broncos have trailed. 35 of 41 through the air, 410 yards with 5 touchdowns and only 1 pick. So they don't have a lot of practice, but the few times that they have been trailing, Kellen Moore seems to operate pretty well under what you would expect with the composure.
It is very important for the Boise State offense to run some time on this clock and give that defense a breather over there. DJ Harper will be the running back. Virginia Tech moving guys all over the place. They're going to throw on first down that sideline, incomplete, intended for Young.
Boy, Brent, you're right. There was some major confusion that time with the safeties and the linebackers, and that time they caught a break where Kellen Moore was throwing that football to Young, but I don't think right now the Hokie defenders are talking to each other trying to figure this out. 7 new starters, sometimes that's going to happen, although they've, again, let's face it, they've played very well since the second quarter, beginning of the second quarter.
Shoemaker's a slot down to the left of the quarterback. 4 receivers and Harper. Snaps it off, and they pick up the slot man, Shoemaker, that time.
Good tight coverage, but a good throw that time. In the last 4 possessions, Boise State.
That's last season.
Yeah, last year when they trailed. That goes back to Kellen Moore and his numbers.
This is very important now to pick this first down up. Harper, he does. Breaks free in a foot race. Midfield, try to break free. DJ Harper off the injury list. Back at full speed, goes 71 yards on a 3rd and 1 for the Boise State touchdown. How about this?
Bruce Taylor, 51, actually gets in there right there, but he's able to slip off that, and then he slips off another would-be tackler. And then once Harper gets to the second level, he's able to take it all the way to the end zone. But Virginia Tech almost in a goal line defense on 3rd and short. Once Harper broke those tackles, there was nobody left back there.
Kyle Brunsman. Picked up, nothing doing. So now the special teams for the Hokies are starting to come back. And it's 26-21 after the botched extra point. But Harper gives the Broncos a huge.
Well, on 3rd and short, Virginia Tech putting 11 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. It's feast or famine. You're either going to be able to make a play right there, Bruce Taylor, or you're not. Harper's able to break 1 and then 2 tackles. Both, by the way, are linebackers. Lindell Gibson also is able to let him free. And then Harper does have the speed in the open field to outrun the safety.
Brunsman with the ball on the tee. Fielded at the 10 by Wilson. And not much doing. And let's go to Reese Davis in the studio for Sports Center right now. Reese.
Brent, Ben Roethlisberger has been stripped of his captaincy of the Steelers by a vote of his teammates. Roethlisberger has had his 6-game suspension reduced to 4 by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. Currently on ESPN2, Roger Federer leads Jurgen Meltzen 2-0, 1-1 in the 3rd. Federer going for his 17th Grand Slam title. SportsCenter's on ESPN News this very moment.
And here Taylor next to Williams, and on 1st and 10, Taylor forced to scramble, and does he make the most of it? Into Boise State territory. That is 29 rushing yards for Tyrod Taylor.
Watch the defensive end Root right there go to the inside. And when he cut back into the inside, Tyrod Taylor's able to recognize that, and he sees that he's got some room to run. The thing that you love to see from Taylor is he doesn't give up on the play. He's not going to run out of bounds. In fact, he goes up and over Jerron Johnson to pick up even more yards.
He's their leading rusher, 65 yards. Williams has rushed for 25 and 2 rushing touchdowns. He's also caught a 12-yard touchdown pass. On 1st down, Taylor again back in the pocket, has time, goes far sideline, and the receiver is bumped. That's 15 yards and an automatic 1st down. Thompson bumps Roberts, and that was quite clear on that. No doubt about it.
No, sir. And Roberts actually got behind Thompson, but the ball being underthrown.
Pass interference in the 13 defense. 15 yards from the previous spot.
This is no man's land for a defensive back. He goes a little stutter and go. And once he gets by him, you have no idea that the ball is underthrown. And when the receiver tries to get back, and if you don't allow him to get back to the football and you're not looking at the football, that's pass interference. Back-to-back 1st and 10 pass calls. One a scramble for Taylor, and this one they pick up the pass interference.
So the ball is at the Bronco 33. Taylor follows the motion man, and that was a direct snap to Ryan Williams. Let me correct myself, 34, and we've got a penalty. Holding on the play. So they decided to try a little wildcat.
68 offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Still 1st down.
Let's check in down below now with Heather Cox. Heather?
Well, the good news, Boise State scored in a hurry. The bad news, no rest for the Bronco defense. During that last possession, I counted 5 different DBs getting treated on the sidelines for cramping in their legs. They're stretching, using a roller to massage it out, pounding the electrolytes and the salt tablets. But, guys, it's cooler than expected, but still humid, clearly affecting the secondary.
Yeah, that was going to be a factor in this game. The Boise State coaching staff was concerned about it. 1st down and 20. And they come back with the battering ram. Iloka up with the stop.
In fact, when you went over to Boise a couple weeks ago, they talked about watering down their indoor facility and trying to turn on the heat to try to create some kind of humidity. You know, life is good for a player when they're trying to. It's so cool outside, you got to try to manufacture heat and humidity.
2nd down and 17. Taylor up in the pocket with the completion, almost back to that original line of scrimmage, isn't it?
Boise State, I think right now what they're thinking is we've got to stop number 5. And even there, where they spread them out with 4 wide receivers, they're still committed to staying close to the line of scrimmage and in that box area with their linebackers. Instead of spreading out with the receivers, they're respecting Taylor and his ability to run, create, scramble, and then throw. So one-on-one matchups on the outside are available to Tyrod Taylor.
That's a 3rd Mike linebacker, or the middle linebacker, that the Broncos have used tonight. Got his helmet off, 33, Tommy Smith. Going for the end zone. Incomplete. And oh, did he have 6 points on that to Davis. Wide open. He would have walked in on that one.
We just talked about the one-on-one opportunities, and he has it right there. He got behind him. It looked like Davis may have slowed down there. If he would have kept going after the football, I think he makes that catch, but so close. One-on-one, the big guy against Brandon Thompson.
Here's Hazley. Trots onto the field. Saunders is the holder. This is 4th down and 11. A 51-yarder. This in way to the right. So Boise State, we got a penalty flag on this, Harvey?
Yeah, it looks like
it's
flag
against,
back where he actually kicked the football.
Running into the kicker. On the defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Does not give them a 1st down, but coach can't be happy about this. This is a makeable field goal with this penalty now.
Well, and he runs into him right off the edge there. But Brent, now he's got a decision. The field goal kicker tonight, Hazley, has struggled all night. So now you got a 4th and 5. Now you got to think about going for it.
You're exactly right. I see Williams trotting back on the field, Herbie. You were all over that.
Yeah, the kicker with Hazley right now, I don't think he has a lot of confidence. 4th and 5 with the scrambling of Tyrod Taylor and the way this offense is executed here in the last quarter and a half. It gives you a better chance.
Taylor will throw for it. Got it. And a touchdown. Jared Boykin. So running into the kicker gives Virginia Tech a fresh life. And they strike with a 28-yard touchdown on 4th and 5 and regain the lead. Taylor now has thrown 2 touchdown passes. And they have got the running back on the field here, up by 1. They'll try to make it a 3. They're going to go for 2. They will go for 2 here in an effort to put this on 3. The fullback a little bit late. There's the final defensive player coming in. That is Byron Hout rushing in. Virginia Tech a little confused, and a timeout is burned.
Yeah, Chris Peterson at the top, running all the way down to the 5-yard line to try to get that timeout. What a good job Tyrod Taylor did there, Brent, on that touchdown pass. You have Boise State trying to bring 7 guys. You count them up here, there's 7 guys, and the Hokies only have 6 if you include the running back to be able to pick them up. So that means he's got to get rid of the football as soon as he catches this, because he knows there's going to be a guy, or 2 in this case, coming free. He throws the football, and yeah, it's maybe a little bit behind Boykin, but Boykin has strong hands, makes the catch, and there's that one-on-one matchup that we talked about, that the Hokies have to win that battle on the outside.
Now take a look at the senior from Hampton, Virginia. Taylor's reaction. Yes. Even flat on my back. That is 6.
He's earned it tonight, hasn't he?
Oh, he's a good looking.
He's playing great.
Folks, I don't know if many of you were watching or remember the game down at LSU when he was a freshman, and Herbie and I did that game down there. And the progress that he's shown under Frank Beamer's coaching staff is remarkable. Now they're going to attempt to go for 2. Ryan Williams will be the running back. Still in the 3rd quarter, but Beamer has decided to make a bid here to put this on 3 if they can. Taylor in trouble. And that'll do it. It's a 1-point lead. 27-26. Uh-oh, Dan Taylor is shaken up. A leg injury. Percy got into him. And he is limping off the sideline. We'll get a report just as soon as we can.
Right as he releases the football, he kind of falls awkwardly, Brent.
Yes, he does.
J.C. Perry chasing him from behind, and he's kind of holding the back of his left leg in that hamstring area. Percy, or J.C. Percy.
Yeah, he probably should have lived to fight another day and not battle when he was going down. That's too bad. Well, let's hope he's okay now.
Talked about the night that he's had. He's 10 of 12.
Looking okay over there. He's a tough rascal.
10 of 12 through the air and 14 carries, 65 yards rushing.
Well, it's Boise State's turn, but Justin Meyer has forced Titus Young to the back of the end zone. Titus will come out with this one. You can bet on it. Here he comes. Returned 2 for touchdowns a year ago in the 30-yard line. Well, just to point out again how important this game is. The one thing I want to make about Boise State, no margin for error. They cannot afford to lose this game and still dream of getting to Glendale, Arizona for the BCS championship. Yes, they can still get back to a BCS game, but you wouldn't think a one-loss Boise State would have a chance. Notice the writers with Virginia Tech. They have them 10th, and the coaches have Virginia Tech up there in 6th right now. So that's fairly wide discrepancy right there. And now let's talk about TCU. If Boise State can't come back, they become the darling of the BCS Busters crowd. Martin is the running back. Pounds into the middle. Let's take a look at our playing favorites, brought to you by Pizza Hut. Kellen Moore. 5 of his 16 completions tonight, Herbie, to Titus Young.
And Titus Young has been his go-to man, not just tonight, but for a couple years now, along with Austin Pettis. And he's going to need Young healthy and out on this field and feeling good. Don't give up on Kellen Moore. He's just going to keep moving his team down the field.
Avery checks in as the running back. Inside of 2 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. We have a 1-point game. Toss. Avery. Swallowed. Check in with Heather Cox. And Heather, any news about Tyrod Taylor down below?
Well, good news for Virginia Tech fans. Tyrod Taylor suffering the same problem Boise State secondary is. He's just got cramps, not receiving any medical attention whatsoever. Is good to return on the next offensive possession.
Yeah, absolutely, Heather. Thank you. Well, now we have an injured Boise State player down there. You know, Heather, I should point out, lives in Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
And she still has to get a car to drive over there, but she says it's great. Some of you may not know, Heather Cox, of course, working the WNBA NBA coverage for us, and she was an outstanding volleyball player.
So she can get up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't want her spiking the ball on you. I'm telling you that right now.
Was she a setter?
She's our leading athlete here tonight, Herbie.
Heather, were you bringing it down? Were you bringing the hammer, or were you just kind of...
You guys are killing me. Do I have to pay you after the game for this, or what? Thanks, Brent, for the pub.
You got it.
I'm not worthy, though. And you'll notice I may live in Boise, but I am on the Virginia Tech side.
Exactly. Well, the coach's trophy, the most prized possession in all of college football. Of course, it's presented by Dr. Pepper. And, you know, there's a spot in the locker room at Virginia Tech that is reserved for one of those. That's the only thing that Frank Beamer and the Hokies don't have. They played for it once, but they lost to Florida State. Now it is 3rd down and 6. Big play here for the Broncos. Got it in underneath. Can he get the first down? He does. And out of bounds, and he's having a big night. Titus Young, senior from Los Angeles. These two wide receivers, Austin Pettis and you know, these are big-time players now. The Hokies will have to battle them right down to the wire.
No question about it. And this time, again, the offensive line doing a good job. 3rd down. You know what Bud Foster's capable of doing, but they're able to keep the pressure off of Moore, give the play enough time to be able to develop, and underneath, Young picks up with that big first down.
There's the play action. Moore's got time. Can he find a man? Yes, he can. And this time it is Austin Pettis, the senior from Anaheim.
You know, Kellen Moore, it's been talked about a lot how good a year he had. He had 39 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. This is the area he wants to improve the most this year. Putting more velocity on the ball, stepping up into the pocket, and then stepping through his throws. And you're going to see right here, this required a lot of more zip on the football than he would be able to do last year. That's a great illustration of exactly where he's trying to improve, and it's paying off for him here on that throw.
Ball at the Hokies' 37-yard line. Off the play action, his tackles do a great job, and incomplete. And that time his tight end Kyle Efall was covered downfield pretty good. They did not let the tight end grab that seam and hold on that time. But what's impressive here, remember we saw the shot, Herbie, of the offensive line on that side over there. They have adjusted a little bit with their blocking here against the defense. And the tackles have done a great job here lately on this series. Now let's see what happens here, because you think that Bud Foster's about ready to dial up a little heat here if he can. 2nd down and long. They show pretty base. And they run against it to the 29-yard line. Doug Martin.
That's what I think makes Kellen Moore that much more effective, is you get caught up in the formations and the way they can spread you out with Pettis and with Young, but you still have to respect the physicality of the offensive line and these tough running backs that they have, because if you get caught up in the timing and the rhythm of that passing game, you can't just pay attention to that, because they're going to be able to get right up the middle, pick up some big yards running.
Yeah, that's a very good point. As we come to the end of the 3rd quarter, a 1-point game. It's coming down to the final quarter. An important game on Labor Day, and Virginia Tech leads it by 1. But Boise State starts the 4th quarter with a 3rd and 1. They'll run for it, and they have got it. Banging up in there is Doug Martin.
Dan Paul does a good job of sealing this from the outside right there, and you can see Martin recognizes that block and cuts that back to the outside off to his left. But a big block that time by Dan Paul to open that big hole up there for Boise State.
In the red zone. Keep it on the ground. They're starting to gash the left side, Herbie, over there. Potter had moved over there to tackle, and Joe Kellogg had been the guard with Bird the center, and they're starting to find some daylight over there.
Well, there's movement also from Virginia Tech, and with that movement, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and this time it's a loss for Virginia Tech. You're right, Kellogg does a good job, Potter does a good job. They get movement, and then the lead block by the fullback, Dan Paul. Remember, play action pass down in this area off that same run look has been open for Boise State for touchdowns twice tonight.
For the 2nd and 2. And that time the Hokies were ready, led by Big John Graves, the senior from Richmond, Virginia.
The only experienced defensive lineman and returning starter up front, really the leader. In fact, they gave him the lunch pail this year. And if you follow Virginia Tech football, you know how serious that is. And he fights his way through, gets the penetration, and Martin didn't have a chance.
Passing play, you would think, coming up here for the Broncos. Foster will have to get ready. DJ Harper comes in as the running back. Pettis is to the right. Young goes to the right. Throws it deep, end zone, incomplete. Threw it up over the top of Efaw, and now you would think that Boise State would settle for a field goal here to regain the lead. And the field goal team, and with Boise State in this situation, you always want to be real careful. You want to check and make sure. Bronsman has made a 44 and a 47-yarder tonight. Boise is down by 1. This would put them up by 2 to tie the school record, 30 yards. Close to that left hash, pulls it in, missed it. The left hash bites Bronsman again.
Brent, it looked like the ball rolled back a little bit to Pettis. Now he does a good job of recovering the snap. It's a little bit short there. Does a good job like a shortstop with a short hop. He gets it down, but Postman unable to deliver.
And the Hokies cling to that 1-point lead. Tyrod Taylor and the Hokies lead Boise State by the slimmest of margins. And Taylor slips it off to the outside to David Wilson. And Herbie, here's tonight's game track brought to you by Fidelity. When you look back at the start of this game, Austin Pettis blocked a punt, then caught a touchdown pass.
But before with a blink of an eye, Boise State was running away with it. But give credit to Frank Beamer and the Hokies. They settled down, weathered the storm, got back into the football game, and in the third quarter kind of went back and forth. Even though Virginia Tech won the quarter 13-6, both these teams showing a lot of heart, fighting back, fighting through some momentum switches.
Darren Evans gets a call, but Taylor throws for the first down, and they cross midfield. They're close to it, I should say, with Jared Boykin.
Again, a great job there by Tyrod Taylor, putting the ball right in front of Boykin, so his momentum's going forward. He's able to pick up a block. And with these receivers at Virginia Tech, last year they were just getting used to playing against Alabama. Now they're a veteran group, and all of them bring different attributes to the table. You can see Jared Boykin at 6'4", can make some big plays in the open field.
Yeah, and Herbie, we get a report from down below that there have been cramping problems by several now with the Boise State players. Taylor in trouble. Throws high and incomplete, and there's a penalty flag. A flag thrown. Chase Baker was taking Taylor down.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. 97 defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
We talked about the miscues of Virginia Tech early in the game, but Boise State now has 10 penalties on the night. And another costly one here. This time the big defensive tackle Chase Baker comes in late on Taylor. Taylor had 3 receivers in one area, all going down the field vertically, but he had to scramble. Boise State only had 2 defenders back. If he would have had time to throw, he would have had his choice of receivers, 2 of them wide open downfield for a touchdown.
Baker obviously knows, and he's on the sideline with Ryan Williams back on the field. And nothing doing as he is thrown down by Byron Hout, the junior from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. You folks have never been in the state of Idaho. You go out west, you want to drop by Coeur d'Alene up in that northern Idaho. Herbie, that's some of the most beautiful country in the world up there by those lakes, Hayden Lake, all those places up there.
You're tempting me.
Come on over and see us. We're up in Glacier up in Montana. You'll love it. Now the backers come. Tyrod Taylor snaps it off, though, complete. And he's starting to find Boykin. Number 81 now is stepping up.
Tyrod Taylor taking a page out of Kellen Moore's book by getting the ball out of his hands quickly. It's the same throw that, if you remember, on 4th and 5, Boykin turned into a touchdown. The timing, Boykin has such strong hands, and Boise State continues to leave Boykin and these other Virginia Tech wide receivers alone one-on-one.
Now, both these quarterbacks are on the Davey O'Brien watch list. And right now, when you look at the numbers, Taylor has thrown for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns. Moore for Boise State has thrown for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we talked about the dual Herbie at the top of the night, and indeed we have had two fine football players. Obviously, there's an obvious difference. Taylor a little more mobile back there because he's their leading rusher with 65 yards.
I mean, Tyrod Taylor has left everything on this field tonight, and there's still a long way to go to determine who's going to win the game. But my gosh, I mean, he's doing everything.
Williams is now out, and Evans is in alongside Taylor on 2nd down and 9. Taylor wants to take off, wants daylight. And did he keep the knee up and pick up a first down? That would be a remarkable piece of footwork by Tyrod Taylor, the Hokies' leading rusher. That's a little bit of Houdini right there.
I don't think you can use the football to help keep you up, and I don't know if he did. The ball gets down close. His knee never touches. His hand touches, not the football, but his hand touches. A good no call to keep that play live.
11 yards on that run. And O'Neill, the referee, has stopped it. He's going over to the sideline, and Honig upstairs in the replay booth is going to check it here for John O'Neill, and they're going to run this back, and they're going to see if this is legal.
Brent, I cannot wait to see this call because the back of his hand touches the ground. Now, obviously, if the front of your hand touches the ground, like his left hand is doing, you can do that all day. But it's not very often you see a quarterback scrambling with the football and his right hand goes down and the back of his hand touches. The only thing that they can call is that could be down because of the back of his hand. That's about it. And again, maybe it's another rule we get to be coached up on here early in week 1. That was the only thing that really touched the ground there with that effort.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
There you go. Good.
Good call, partner.
So the back of the hand works.
Stayed underneath the ball.
Works the same as
had to be the arm of the forearm that was down.
You don't see that every day.
Oh, indeed.
That play, by the way, really illustrates the entire game that Tyrod Taylor has played. That was a tremendous effort again. Scrambling and fighting and literally crawling to try to pick up yards for this Hokie offense.
Williams back on the field. He gets the call. Not much doing. They gang up on him, and Thompson, number 13, finally brings him down. So there they are, the dynamic duo of the Hokies with Taylor and Williams. And Williams has rushed for 2 touchdowns and caught one of Taylor's passes for another. And the leading rusher, though, is the quarterback. And he's going to cause a whole lot of folks in the ACC a lot of problems. He's a playmaker. 2nd down and 12 for them. Snaps it off. Roberts cross to the 17-yard line.
Love to see these Boise State defensive backs come up, not just willing to make contact, but they wrap up. I mean, they are sound fundamentally out in the open field. It's tough to bring. Tyrell Roberts is a pretty shifty young man when he has room out there to run, and he's made some plays, but my gosh, these guys are doing a good job.
So it's 11 Eastern time, and we welcome you to FedEx Field, the home of the Washington Redskins in Landover, Maryland. This, of course, is the college football kickoff here on a Monday night. Taylor and the Hokies, and a timeout has been used. Virginia Tech burns a timeout. That's the first of the 3 that they have used here in the second half with 7:46 to go. If you're just joining us, Boise State, a possible BCS buster this year, scored 17 points in the first quarter. And then Virginia Tech rallied, and they now lead it by 1 point, 27-26.
All-State kickoff in the Capitol. Brought to you by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate. Are you in good hands? And Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor.
9th play of the drive coming. Began for the 20 after a missed field goal by Boise State. 3rd down and 8. Taylor fires, dropped, incomplete. Iloka delivered the blow, number 8 for Boise State. And now here comes the field goal team.
Interesting adjustment this time by Boise State's defense. Boykin's been hurting them so much in one-on-one coverage. This time they put a safety over behind the defensive back, the corner, to try to take away Boykin and forced him over the middle to the inside.
Chris Havesley, senior from Pennsylvania. This is another 34-yarder. And now he is 1 of 2 from that distance. Virginia Tech up by 4. Well, folks, if you haven't seen it, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, hundreds of consumer electronics stores are going to be part of an event called 3D Demo Days. So if you've been wondering what 3D is all about, and you'd like to see a sporting event in 3D, check in. These fans have been watching outside. There is the camera, the 3D camera. It actually has 2 lenses, a right eye and a left eye, if you will. And so here comes Titus Young, looking for daylight out to the 30-yard line. And now Kellen Moore and the Boise State offense. Will they show us any of their bag of tricks? Checking down on that wristband with the plays. The call sent in by Chris. Ready to go tonight for 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. And let's see what he can come up with.
Big part of this drive will be the execution up front for Boise State. Can they keep the pressure off of Kellen Moore?
DJ Harper checks in. Mitch Burrows is one of the wide receivers. And they run the running back. They fake the end around. And Harper is ganged up on without much going on there.
Up to this point, Chris Peterson and Brian Harsin, the offensive coordinator, have not reached into their bag of tricks. They're known for usually once or twice a game of trying some kind of trick play.
He's thinking about things over there right now. You can see those wheels turning. Needs a touchdown. 6:56. Trails it by 4. Foster's defense shifting. Incomplete. Threw a little bit behind the receiver that time. Shoemaker. Now 3rd down. And coming in is Doug Martin from the Boise State sideline. So they will have 2 running backs, Martin and Harper, and in that situation they have sent one out usually as a wide receiver. They've got them both alongside Kellen now. The Hokies rush 4. First down, right over the middle to Shoemaker. Tyler Shoemaker from Meridian, Idaho.
Bud Foster, defensive coordinator from Virginia Tech, electing to just bring the 4. And that's a dangerous selection as a defensive scheme when you're going up against Kellen Moore, because he has time to throw. And one of his favorite targets is Shoemaker, who gets right into the middle of that defense and sits down in the hole.
Young and Pettis to the same side. Play action, and Kellen looking that way. Wants to go down the sideline, and that's Pettis. And Pettis was covered by GW. Jaron Gouveia-Winslow. That's that Grimm spot, Cody Grimm spot that you talked about. He did a good job. This is terrific coverage here.
Yeah, the whip linebacker, and Titus Young goes to the middle. He actually has a step or two, and if you could have let him downfield, if he saw him, he had a chance. But you're right, that whip linebacker there, GW, doing a good job trying to fill the shoes of Cody Grimm. That hybrid position, you have to be physical enough to come up in the run and also athletic enough to cover, as we just saw.
Now they show that end around look again, and Avery being tripped up as he comes around.
Well, Rashad Carmichael, an outstanding play this time in trying to get around Linehan, the tight end who comes out to be able to try to take him out. Look, he goes upfield and cuts back underneath and dives to make that catch. That's a lot harder than it looked there in slow motion against Jeremy Avery. Fight off a block, dive, and make a play to set up 3rd and long.
Broncos need 7. Harper on the field, but he is out of the backfield. They go empty. And no flag on the play. Davon Morgan, the senior from Richmond, Virginia, with coverage, and he was all over the receiver.
All night tonight we've talked about the inexperience of Virginia Tech's defense. Well, 2 of their seniors, 2 guys that have been around late in this game, step up on back-to-back plays to help this Hokies defense get off the field. Carmichael on the play before this, and this time Morgan gets around him and makes the play with his left hand to keep the tight end, the big tight end, away from the football.
Bronsman to punt. Mosley back deep. And prior to the snap.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Penalties have ganged up on the Broncos here tonight. 11 penalties for 105 yards. Bronsman back. Booms it. And out of bounds. What a beautiful punt that is by Bronsman. Mosley can't handle it. We'll be right back. Saturday night on ESPN, 2 of the Blue Bloods. Penn State will travel to Tuscaloosa to play the defending national champion Crimson Tide of Alabama. Nick Saban hoisting the trophy in the Rose Bowl. Can they repeat? And how will they play without their #1 defensive lineman one more game, as Ryan Williams has in the back? He has scored 3 times here tonight. Tyrod Taylor has the Hokies out in front of the #3 team in the land. And here comes Williams.
If you're Boise State right now, you have to stop Tyrod Taylor, because it's been Taylor's, not just his throwing, but it's been his scrambling, and he's leading this team in rushing right now. You look at the numbers for Tyrod Taylor rushing and the rest of the team. Force Ryan Williams and this offensive line to beat you, but do not allow Tyrod Taylor with his scrambling to end up picking up 1st downs and then eventually running this clock down.
And the Hokies working on that clock right now. So the offensive staff very content to use the battering ram. Clock starts to tick down here in Landover.
One thing about Kellen Moore is his poise under pressure, and if he gets the football back in his hands with a couple timeouts, he's going to have a chance. But it's pivotal that Boise State, when they get their third down opportunities, that they step up, man up here. As tired as they are, they've got to come up with a stop.
They do not. A first down, which will stop it momentarily, but the clock moves inside of 4 minutes now on the Broncos.
Those offensive coaches communicating out to Tyrod Taylor right now that milk that clock, work that play clock down as far as you can.
We have talked a lot about Boise State and the BCS championship. I do not want to overlook the fact that Virginia Tech can run for the title game themselves.
No question.
ACC, we don't know what North Carolina is going to be able to come back with. They've got a big game, the Hokies do, in November with Georgia Tech, and they've got to go to Miami. First things first, they've got to hold on here.
Stay in bounds.
Stop the clock.
Yep. Every second counts. And you're right. You go back to your point about Virginia Tech. The last 3 years, they've been taken out of the BCS National Championship race early. 3 years ago when they went up against LSU. 2 years ago, East Carolina. Last year, our game in Atlanta with Alabama. And their fans want not just to beat Boise State, but they want to stay in the race themselves, like you said, and keep their hopes alive for not just an ACC championship and a BCS bowl game, but they want a chance to stay in the race for the big one.
You betcha. This is a very fine offense that Beamer and the staff will coach this year. Evans checks in now. Tyrod snaps it off. Boykin, the target. Boykin's had a big second half for him and a first down. It's a very poised performance here with the seconds running down on Boise State. Remember, now the Broncos need the football and a touchdown.
And just for the fans watching this clock, and occasionally it's stopping, remember, until you get under 2 minutes, when Virginia Tech goes out of bounds, the clock will stop momentarily, but as soon as the referee starts the play clock, that's when the game clock starts. But once you get under 2 minutes, if these Virginia Tech players get out of bounds, then the clock will actually stop until the next snap.
56 points scored here tonight. First down and 10. And using Evans, a fresh back. Out to the 35, Iloka. Good-looking safety for Boise State. Did it come out?
Darren Evans, the ball didn't come out, but he needs to hold. He's a big, powerful back. But look at the ball away from his body. He better keep that ball in tight. You see that? It almost came loose. Herbie. Be careful.
So a timeout has been used here by Boise State, leaving them with 1 and 2:10 remaining in this game. Well, regardless of what happens here tonight, 2 fine college football teams, and no matter who comes out of here with an L, they're still going to be very tough to deal with.
And again, Boise State may come back and win this game, but I don't want to hear this business about, we showed you, Boise State, go back to the WAC. You guys don't deserve to be in this. And they may not get into the national championship. If they don't win this game, they're not going to get into the national championship. But if you watch this game, no matter how you feel personally about whether they deserve or not deserve to be potentially in a game of that magnitude, how can you not appreciate how well coached, the effort, the attitude, the quarterback, everything that Chris Peterson has at his disposal?
Well said, Herbie. And Evans stays in. And Tyrod will just keep it himself now. Up by 4. If you joined us a little bit late, Boise State struck for 17 points in the first quarter alone. And the Hokies made numerous special team errors in that first half. And then the Hokies got their act together, and they took a 21-20, which was their first lead, and then Boise State. And the Hokies have put themselves in contention. When you think of the coaches rated them a lot higher than the writers did in the first poll. And again, that is one of the components of the BCS. Herbie, I know the fellows were working on a graphic. What are some of the components as we look ahead to the season that will make up the BCS rankings?
Standings will come out in the middle of October. You have a third of the vote will be the coaches poll, so they need to take their vote very seriously. A third of the vote will be the formula is the Harris voters, and then the last third is, of course, the computers. And people have been upset with the computers over the years. I get more frustrated with the human element more so than the computers.
3rd down and 8. And Taylor's going to throw for it down the sideline. Incomplete. Well, with 2 minutes to go, they've got a life.
2 minutes to go. A quarterback who's comfortable in these kind of situations. No timeouts remaining. It's ironic. I did a show on ESPN before the season started, and I said if every quarterback in the country I would take in this kind of situation, Ryan Mallett, Jake Locke, or anybody, I took Kellen Moore as my guy. We'll see if he lives up to it.
Burrows is back to receive this punt. Brian Saunders from Roseland, Virginia, senior punter for the Hokies. Here's Burrows. He's got daylight. Oh, that could be an illegal block. It is coming back. No question about this one.
Well, Avery took a chance, the running back who's back helping out on special teams. But you're right, this is a no-brainer. Right in front of the official.
Just too many Bronco mistakes in this game. The 11 penalties and blocking the back when you're going to get the ball for the last time. Coach Peterson, you can see, not happy.
They would have had great field position.
There is no foul for illegal block during the return. The block in question was from the side.
Wow.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty obvious.
Avery's still stating his case.
Well, you know, maybe he did get him on the side. It's questionable, though. What do you think? Huh?
I think sometimes we get caught up in his head and the back. Or is it's really come, if they could go back to that one more time. I've talked to the officials. I went to a convention this summer, and they said if the man being in question falls forward, that's when they'll call the penalty. But if he falls sideways, there's no foul.
Well, here comes Kellen Moore now near midfield. He's got 147. Snaps it off. 1st down, and that stops the clock. For a few seconds, they can gather themselves here with 1:39. Gabe Linen, a redshirt freshman from Oregon, a tight end in the middle, and here they come.
Hokies trying to substitute some players here.
Martin, the running back, caught again. Stop it by going out of bounds.
Look at
that is Burrows again. What was interesting there, Herbie? They didn't come up to the line and stop the clock by spiking it.
No.
They went for the sideline right away. And here comes Kellen Moore again. 129. Is there a miracle left for these fellas?
Kellen Moore's going to work the sidelines, and he's going to pick up 1st downs. It's imperative that he gets the clock stopped because of obviously not having any timeouts. But again, this is a comfort zone for Kellen Moore.
Kellen throws wide open to Pettis. Pettis finally out of bounds. And a penalty flag. There's a penalty flag as Pettis was hit. What appeared to be a late hit by Taylor, a linebacker over there. Let's let them sort this out.
There's no question. Bruce Taylor came in
after
late.
The play was over. Late hit out of bounds. Number 51, defense. Half the distance to the goal.
What I'm shocked to see here is the one-on-one coverage. I mean, Virginia Tech is basically saying, hey, we've got to hold up one-on-one on the outside. There's the late push by Taylor to pick up more yards at the end of the play. They have also lost Hosley, a corner, to an injury. He comes out. Now Boise State inside the 15-yard line. 1st down and 10, 120, out of timeouts, need a touchdown.
Kellen flashes end zone, incomplete. Threw it out of the back, and his receiver Shoemaker was double covered. He threw it out of bounds to stop the clock.
Boise State trying to find the one-on-one matchups. The 2 previous plays, Kellen Moore had 2 things. He's had time to throw, and then he's had one-on-one matchups, which is pitch and catch for Moore, because when you have time, eventually they're going to break away from man-to-man coverage.
Play action. End zone. Got him. Pettis. Touchdown. Cinderella lives, ladies and gentlemen. This is stunning. 13 yards to Austin Pettis. 1:09 left for the Hokies. He'll go for 1 to put it on 3. A field goal can get the Hokies into overtime if he makes this extra point. Remember, they have botched 1 extra point here tonight, but not this one. Now they've got to get ready for the kickoff. Pettis, his 2nd touchdown.
Brent, well designed, and one thing that I love to see is the way Kellen Moore off of play action is in such rhythm. He puts the ball up and over the safety, who maybe had an opportunity to make a play here.
The coaches upstairs saw Hosley come off. There was a backup corner, and they went directly at it. A kill shot by the coaches.
Yeah, they go after it, but it's also the safety, Brent. The safety does not do a good job of getting back to Winslow, GW. And Kellen Moore had the matchup that he wanted. How about, again, the poise of Winslow during the entire drive, and how quickly they moved the ball right down the field.
You made the key point. When you said of the quarterbacks around the country, the one that you put the ball in his hands, remember now, you said Kellen Moore would be your choice.
That's the one guy.
And how calm he brought them right down the field. Now, here we go. There's still 1:09. There's plenty of time for the Hokies. Fielded at the 15 by David Wilson. And he's out to the 35. Remember now, Virginia Tech has 2 timeouts remaining at 1:02. And here comes Tyrod Taylor. He has been able to get something going with Jared Boykin in this half.
Remember early in the 3rd quarter, Virginia Tech electing to go for 2. They didn't make it. They would have kicked that extra point early. They'd be going for the win right now as opposed to going for the tie.
Yeah.
Now it's the Tyrod Taylor show.
Rush 4. Taylor goes long. 1-on-1, incomplete. What a great defensive play by Thompson. Watch this senior from Elk Grove, California, go to work here defensively.
1-on-1, Brent out there. The ball's actually thrown very well, but like you said, Thompson's right hand at the last second knocks the ball away from Roberts right there. That's about as pretty as you can do as a defensive back.
And he was watching the quarterback all the way, keeping his eye on where that ball was. That was a wonderful play by number 13. Now 54 seconds. Taylor in trouble. They might have to burn one here with 47. Did they get it called? Yep. McClellan was in on Tyrod. There is no better thing in sports to watch than a team that shows up and displays as much courage, whatever the game is, as these youngsters from Boise State have done here tonight.
There's no doubt. And it's fun to see a game live up to its hype.
Isn't that the truth?
We've been talking about this game in the college football community for 3 or 4 weeks, maybe even since going back last year when Boise State beat TCU in the bowl game. It finished the year 14-0, and everybody started to say, hey, maybe next year with 20 starters coming back is the year that a non-automatic qualifier will get a chance to maybe get to the championship game.
Now it's 3rd down and 11, 46 seconds. Virginia Tech with a timeout remaining. Four receivers out for the Hokies. Rush 3, prevent. Throw it to the middle, incomplete. It has come to this for Virginia Tech.
Taylor that time frustrated with Marcus Davis for not breaking that route down in a miscommunication, but you're right, this is it. 4th down and 11. Still a timeout, 41 seconds left. Hokies still have a shot, but they got to deliver right here.
It is, he delivers. And incomplete. The field judge not reaching for the yellow. Kellen Moore and the Boise State Broncos are 31 seconds away. And on that final drive, Kellen Moore was 4 of 5 for 33 yards and the touchdown. That was close on Taylor, as in very close, but the official was right there.
Well, the key is that Taylor had his head turned around, and if he has his head turned around looking for the ball, he has every right to the football as the receiver, Boykin. And that's why I think it's the no call there.
The Boise State fans who have come here, and there are many of them on the far side of the field, they are beside themselves. They have now stood up and they are taking dead aim, not at a BCS game, but the BCS championship game. And let the debate begin. A magnificent performance here by the Broncos. Chris Peterson will be looking for Frank Beamer. Two coaches who respect each other tremendously. Beamer has said all along, every time he looked at a Boise State game, he said this is a well-coached football team. And Coach Peterson said the same thing about Beamer and Virginia Tech. Just stunning. Let's go down Heather Cox and a very happy Chris Peterson. Make him smile, Heather.
I'll do my best, Coach. Once again, magic late in the game. Now, before the game, you said all the right things, but now that all is said and done and you have won, how do you measure the importance of this game?
Game 1, and that's what it is. And, you know, we're just proud how hard the kids played. Virginia Tech's got a great squad. We knew that coming in. They verified it today. And, you know, we're pleased to be able to get out of here with a W against these guys.
Now, with such a little room for error and such high expectations, what did you learn about your team tonight?
Well, we still got a lot of things we got to clean up. You know, we got a ways to go, but, you know, I know that Virginia Tech would say the same thing. Those first games are hard. Things happen that you just don't expect. We just got to go back to work.
All right, Coach Peterson, I don't think I made you smile, but congratulations on the win. Kellen Moore, you are known as having a reputation for someone that has ice running through your veins. How did you keep composure during that last drive?
I think it's just something we did in practice. It's nothing we've never done before. We rep this constantly. We rep being in these situations, and it comes into games, and you got to be able to execute.
And as your coach says, I know this is just one game, and there's a long season ahead of you, but how much confidence does a win like this give you guys to go the rest of the way?
Oh, it's big. Anytime you have a game come down the wire like that, you're able to execute, you're able to win in that type of fashion. That definitely helps you throughout this season.
One of the last plays, a very close, almost inbounds catch. We watched your reaction on the sideline. What was going through your head?
Well, they got a good quarterback over there, and you know, any time on the clock, they still got a good chance. So you're worried.
Huge sigh of relief. Kellen, congratulations on a great win.
All right, thank you very much, Heather.
Brett and Hervey.
Thank you very much, Heather. Excellent job. And, of course, the schedule. what is ahead for Boise State, and the debate will begin because of the strength of schedule. But I want everybody to remember September 25th. That's in Boise. And Oregon State, who played TCU tough, will make a trip into Boise. After that, it looks like they can manage every game. And you come into November and there's a once beaten team in the Big 12 or the SEC or the Big 10 or the Pac-10, the ACC. The debate is going to rage about the strength of schedule. But tonight, it is all hail Boise State, Herbie. This was a wonderful performance by these youngsters.
I've watched this Boise State program very closely for the last 9 or 10 years, and this is not surprising that they came in to this game with all the hype and all the distractions and played this kind of game. If you're just be open-minded for this discussion, you put this Boise State team on a neutral field, they can play with anybody in college football. I don't care who it is. This was like Lane Stadium. 90,000 people here, 80,000 of them were Virginia Tech fans. And Kellen Moore and the Hokies maintained their poise, get into a great battle, had the big lead. The Hokies come back, and then Kellen Moore finds the way to win it late. Not only are they in the discussion, they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams that we should be talking about at this point.
Absolutely. A classic victory for Boise State. Coming up next on ESPN SportsCenter, and next week, Monster Saturday on ESPN. Penn State will take on Alabama in prime time. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Along with Kirk Herbstreit, Heather Cox, and our entire crew, I'm Brett Musburger, saying so long from FedEx Field, and thanks for watching. Now, let's take you to SportsCenter.